Hello everyone, and welcome back to Roll Through, your favourite YouTube streamers get together to play some lovely tabletop RPGs. Sorry for the slight delay, apparently Zoom has changed everything and needed to be fixed, which luckily was a simple fix. So welcome back. We're playing Silence of Shadows today, our Vampire the Masquerade 2nd edition, 5th edition campaign in our 2nd season. And
there you go, I was like, 2nd edition? We switched?
Matt is like, shit.
Well, that just makes you all much more powerful, basically.
Oh god, really?
Oh yeah, 2nd edition
we've been waiting
is
on.
a much bigger power jump than 5th.
Eek. Okay. Well, I'm down for that. Right. Oh, okay. We're gonna dive in with some announcements and stuff, and some shilling. So, very first thing. There is no support today. Easy enough. NPC name submissions for April are coming this week, so if you are at the correct tier on the Patreon, you can submit your names into the NPC name list and then get either murdered or, if you get, pulled into Monster Hearts, apparently become my bitchy friends, which was glorious. So feel free to submit your names into that. Names have to be kind of relevant to the show.
Can I just say, like, what a gamble?
Yeah.
You get your name in there, you're either dead or you're a friend in high school. It's dope.
I mean, I think other GMs use them for other purposes. All I've done is mostly kill people and make them my friends who are terrible, terrible people.
Sure.
So, could go either way.
So, EE? You EE'd it?
Wait, I'm a terrible friend? What? How
Wow.
could you say that to me?
What a call out, actually. Great. Nice. She's just getting in character. She's just getting into character.
Drama's starting. We'll put it.
I just like watching the look
drama
on your face as you went, what? What? Like, the process of understanding.
Look, it's too...
I love
too
you,
early.
EE. It's all right.
It's 6 p.m.
I've been up for like 6 hours, so
I have been up for almost an hour.
I've had 2 cups of coffee. I'm ready.
I'm on my first. It's good stuff.
Okay. There's also a monthly recap coming if you want. Like, that'll be up some point this week. Whatever. Oh god. Pollen, can the pollen please off? Right.
He's got the Rona.
That is the worst problem of having hay fever at this time of year in this year.
Into the sun you go.
Yep.
And just start marching. Listen, the Rona crosses all species.
You're all the worst. Making
A Ventru who can only feed off of people who have coronavirus.
Oh my god.
Anyway.
He was turned when he had the Rona.
That's terrible and scary.
That's why he can only feed on Rona people. It makes sense. Listen.
Does that mean he wants the pandemic to continue to keep feeding?
Well, he is a kindred, so they are behind all horrible things in the world. So much so, books had to be rewritten.
Yeah. Well done there, White Wolf.
Sounds
Anyway.
like power to me. What?
So, shilling time. Shilling. Hello, if you want to support the show, you can do so at patreon.com/roll for it, where there are different tiers and different rewards you can get in on. Everything gives you access to the Discord, where people are quite talkative over there. And I'm sure they'll also tell me that I'm a horrible person, that Dot is correct. Thank you for that in advance. Secondly, you can get different tiers and so on. Obviously, there's stuff like get the MP3s of the show, so you can listen to them. You can get after shows, where we just talk about what happened in the show briefly after a show, and what's going to happen next time, and how we're all awful people. Except for me. I'm a good boy.
EE is a good person.
Okay, that sounds horrible.
See?
Anyway,
What do you want from me, EE?
I want you to suffer. Anyway, there's also other stuff like, character sheets and player information. There's the GM tier where you get access to like behind the scenes stuff, polls, GM lore and info dumps. Then there's also stuff like, hey, you can get access to NPC names, admin, recaps and monthly recaps about how months are going, and occasionally early hints at what's happening. And then there's stuff like getting access to once a monthly game GM member off the cast. And then there's even the deity tier, which is just... Yeah, that happens.
EE, I just realized, can you give us your good mic?
No,
I was gonna say,
you don't deserve it.
No, we don't
We
deserve
want to
it.
hear your sultry voice, EE.
Okay,
We don't
that's
deserve the
nice.
good
But you
mic.
know what? You can have my sultry voice, because
I
that's
knew
how you
you'd
put
like
it.
that.
Only if you go full Crowley. I
Right.
think we have lived it in this moment.
What? What does Crowley say? Right, I'm new here, and
Right, I'm new
I want a
here.
bite
I'm
to
new
eat.
here.
Yeah. A
Never
bite to
hot.
eat.
Anyway, right. So, there's also access on Twitch. If you go to Twitch, you can subscribe. You know, apparently there's 3 different types of subscription. You know, I didn't know that, but you can. And you get access to the like a little symbol thing. It's like a dice with a number on it, and you get access to our Discord as well, and also lovely emotes. If you want to support, you can support over on YouTube.com/rollforit as well, where you can be a YouTube member. We have 2 of them, and they get access to our Discord as well. Not really sure what they do other than that, but they have some sort of emote symbol thing going on.
Who are they over on the Discord? I want to call them out.
There are 2 of them, and we can tell on the Discord, like we see their little rolls. So thank you to you. Also, if you want, you can tip and
I want
bits.
to call them out.
I just want to ask why. Like, what went wrong in their life to use YouTube partnership instead of Twitch?
Don't call them out for supporting the show. They pay your wage, mate.
I'm
That's
just
right.
saying, this is bad. There's other ways to support.
Oof. Right. Yeah, tips and bits are going to the cup down there, and physics will happen. If you can try and bounce it high enough, maybe you can hit maths once or twice. Be appreciated. And also, you can just tell people about the show. You know, it's often, what's it called? Often misinterpreted as being like, oh, it's not that helpful. No, it's really helpful to tell people the show. Even like just, a tweet or whatever, getting more people involved, getting more watchers, viewers. It's why we're doing it. If no one was watching, no, actually, we'd still probably do this. But, whatever, we wouldn't be streaming it. But like, it's really appreciated if you can just get, the word out, support us, in any way you can, even if it's just, a tweet or telling a friend or whatever. So very much appreciated. Is it Pick on EE Day today? Oh wait, that's every day. Exactly. See, my life.
But it sounds better when you talk like that. Like for the picking on you.
Right. Thank you.
Right.
You should have just left it at. It sounds
Right.
better when you
Humanity
talk
is
like that, and
5.
just like left it.
Like
This is
you-
why your humanity is 5, Dakota.
It's
It's on its
it's
way
a
up.
new 5. It's
a
a
new
fresh 5, a rising 5. E.
Look, it's better than when you were at 4.
It's,
You are now average.
I'm
Well done,
all
Dot. You
Dakota
are
can hope
completely
for.
average.
Right?
All Dakota can hope for.
Exactly.
Anyway, that's how you can support the show. Pretty sure I covered everything there. I got a little bit derailed, thanks to some people. If you want to, you can do all the things. It's very much appreciated. Allows us to pay our lovely cast and do all the cool things and do awesome projects and stuff. Like getting everyone together internationally with flights into a crowded bar, which I really appreciate is in November and not now. Right, that said, I think we're good. Heads up, so, content warning. Hello, this is Vampire the Masquerade. Vampire the Masquerade by default, and the setting and the very nature of the content itself by a normal play is a pretty disturbing world. Firstly, we are playing characters. We're actually playing our characters, so bear in mind that those characters are not us. When we're playing our characters, sure, feel free to hit on the characters. All characters are going to do some pretty horrible things, because at the end of the day, we're vampires and we do horrible things. When we are being players, however, please bear in mind that, don't hate on us. Please hate on the characters. It's totally fine. They're a character. You can totally hate or like characters, but the players are playing a role, so don't take that on them. Also, what's the other one? Oh yeah, we're going to be doing some stuff that can be occasionally dodgy or, touch on triggers or whatever, because hey, Vampire the Masquerade is a setting where that should be, the thing, and also taken seriously. So if it is a problem, feel free to, walk away from the stream for a bit, mute something, go get a cup of tea, or if you need to, skip an episode. Totally fine. Don't feel you have to watch every single minute, even if it's going to cause you some sort of pain. You're totally free to step away. You don't have to. No one's got a gun to your head. Yet. Anyway.
Yet.
That said, Mathis, we'll take it away, mate.
All right. Before we jump right in, there's something I want to clarify from last episode that I think, since we're at the end of the episode, I didn't really, and it's kind of an important tidbit. Also, on top of that, hey, it's April. It's almost 1 year since the end of SOS Season 1.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
We ended SOS
bollocks.
Season 1 at the end of April. April
Wow.
28th, I think I looked at it yesterday.
Wow.
It's been a friggin' year, dudes.
That's nuts.
Crazy.
That means we've been playing together for over a year. Like
my God.
a year and a half now.
Yeah.
Because end of SOS, that was because we started in September.
We were babies.
Well, yeah, so we
Oh.
were. We started
Well,
just around the
kindred
corner
veins.
in August, I think.
Yeah, just around the corner. Started earlier than that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh,
oh
wait, that
my
was
God.
Augest? Because that was 6 episodes.
Yeah, it was-
so
that
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 was
seems
6
right.
summer.
weeks
August.
Was
Yeah,
the
it was
beginning of
August.
August, I think. Right.
into like mid-sept.
Because it was meant to be
Aw.
like 7 episodes, and it was meant to be 8 episodes or something, and then Bob
Well,
did
yeah, we
something.
cut it early because you guys made very specific decisions.
I want to
Yep,
just blame
yep.
that was Bob. Bob
We
did
made
decisions.
very specific decisions. Well
Yep.
done.
You cut the show early. Like, I gave you warning. But on top of that, last episode we ended seeing a figure spray painting Dakota's boat, and a question was brought up that should have been part of the description. You actually do see during that scene one of the pup's heads pop out and look down toward it. And while there's maybe a moment of tenseness with the dog, the woman very quickly looks up and then looks down and continues the art. And I say woman, but it's just it's an unknown figure. It's just easier for me to keep saying woman because in my mind it's a very slender figure. And then the dog just pops its head back down and makes no noise. There's no barking, there is no growling, nothing to alert anybody. Other than that, we're actually going to have minimal math this time because we're not picking up with me. And instead, well, we'd have a scene that we need to play out with Ava. Ava heading to the bar and meeting up with somebody that's a new hire at a local area that may be of use to her. We're going to do that the following night. Instead, this night picks up with Crowley on his way to grab Ava. There's a particular place that is available to him this night after making a very small payment. And you made an offer to Ava in the at the end of last episode.
I thought that was for the next night after because she was busy
It
tonight. or
was. We're
something.
swapping it.
We're
but,
reversing it.
Where
Yeah.
basically what's gonna happen?
Which is fine.
Ava
I'm cool
goes
with
to
that.
the city, looks for the guy. He ain't there. She asks, maybe get some information. His shift got swapped. He'll be there for his first night the following night.
Okay, in which case I need to just quickly brush up on my plan.
I
funny
remember your plan. With
Uh,
pictures and everything.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
God.
God.
Wow.
Proper.
How
I love this.
how lovely. You planned out our whole date, Crowley?
Actually, so out of curiosity, would you pick her up? Would you guys meet somewhere? How would you go about this? And everybody rouse check me for the next night.
Okay.
I need to be more on you about your hunger. That needs to be a bigger threat. It's a better threat than it was in season 1. It used to be even more of a threat.
Rouse.
Click rouse, nothing
Come on,
happened.
roll 20.
Yeah, roll 20s. I've got like half broken pictures on my roll 20, so I'm not quite sure.
My one's fine at the moment. We'll see. If not, I can restart the API if it is bugged.
Yeah.
So how's everybody doing?
Well, I'm feeling a bit peckish.
No, I'm
Yeah,
still
I'm-
wondering why it's my fault. I caught that.
For which part?
He just said we're just gonna blame Bub, and I don't know why. Why is it again? Why is it my fault?
Because it's more fun.
Oh shit, that checks out. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, there you go. There it is.
Seems-
Yeah.
On
Exactly.
point for us.
All right.
I failed.
Dakota
which puts
goes
me
up
at
and
hunger
Ollie goes up
3.
and Crowley goes all up.
Okay.
You all go up. Ava, yeah, she's good.
I'm good. Yeah.
I'll
Hunger 1, yo.
use my thing to just reduce it by
This is
1.
great. Well, I never updated my health from that one time I took damage. Let me fix that. Like
Oh.
5 sessions ago.
Now,
5
Okay.
sessions ago.
Yeah.
You just never heal. Well, you would
I
have healed
just
when you
never
woke
healed.
up. When you heal and you rouse.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, the question remains: how did you discuss? The two of you end up discussing how you wanted to meet at this place, or
Crowd
did
would
you want to
probably
go scoop
pick
her?
Ava up because he's got a very specific plan. So he would have asked if it's okay to pick Ava up because he wouldn't presume.
Of course.
And where would Ava get
Find me at the
picked up?
septic tank.
Where's Ava getting picked up from?
She
God, this gross ass broken down 1960s van laden with like gold is like fucking puttering down the road, and it's like, all right, time to pick up my Toreador date. There's the septic tank.
Well,
You
I've got a very specific plan. It actually requires me to probably hire like a limo or something if that works, because I need it to be
you
a
can do
smooth
that.
ride. I don't need a bumpy ride.
Ava actually
No,
would be she would start her nights downtown a little bit, just doing a little bit of socializing. So you could find me down there, maybe by the rack or one of my usual spots. So you can pick
Okay.
me up there.
Crowley shows up, being chauffeured by someone in a limo. It's probably not a big limo or anything, but it has to be a relatively like decent limo, so it's up to date, etc. Like it's got all the mod cons, mostly because I need good suspension in it.
Okay, that's fine by me. Ava is very happy to be picked up in a limo, especially in her scene.
Hello, Ava. Thanks for getting in.
But of course. Color me impressed, Crowley. I would not have expected you to be rolling up in a limousine here.
Oh, sorry. Did you fancy a van? I can go get it if you want.
Oh, no. Not at all. I am very, very pleased, to say the least.
Okay. Well, like I said, I'm planning this one a little bit towards Ava rather than the Toreador. So, I'll be more interested to hear about you. But Crowley pulls out a set of pencils, just like just an array of different like furnaces of tip and so on, basically an artist set, and several bits of card. I've got something planned, so if it's okay, would you mind drawing a few things?
Sure. I mean, art is something I like to do. I'm not the best, but I can do my best.
Who pisses you off?
Who pisses me off?
Yeah. Even slightly. I mean, for a start, you can put the rest of the coterie down on there, including me.
Oh, this is a tough one because there's quite a few people who piss me
several
off.
sheets of
That's just
paper.
the entire first date is just you drawing the entire
Yeah.
government of the Camarilla.
I would draw the first. I would draw the first person who comes to my mind at this point. Then,
Right.
yes,
Who would that be?
the sheriff.
Okay. Can I get an intelligence craft check?
Oh man. Okay. Let's see. Oh, it's actually pretty good. My craft is. I got 2. Okay, I rolled. So
I believe you. We're just gonna wait it
we
out.
will just give roll 20 a minute.
It's okay. I've got plenty more to go through. Right.
Oh,
I think
God.
I recognise
Great.
that one. Who else? Feel free to go for everyone. I've got a lot of paper.
Are you sure? Is there other questions because we might have limited paper here?
Oh.
I
Alright,
see
you
you only
succeed.
have
It is recognizable, certainly. and it's
one
well done.
success.
Don't worry. We need a few for this.
Who's going to be seeing this?
Just us.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Next, I would draw. I'm just gonna. Yeah, I'm really just gonna go of who comes first to my mind. Who comes second? The prince.
Sure.
I'm
Go
just.
ahead and make me another roll.
These are the people who piss me off.
No, this is
3.
this may be just
successes.
out of your own anger and just your most recent encounter and well, punishment by the prince. This one's a little bit fresher in your mind, so this one's a bit more detailed.
That one I definitely recognise.
Yeah, I really put my emotion into this one, and I hand it to him.
Put it on the pile. What about who else? What about your sire?
Who else? My son. She was gonna be next.
Oh.
You read my mind.
Getting to know you already.
Yes. Do you want me to draw her as well?
No, I want you to draw whoever you want to draw. But ideally anyone who can even piss you off ever so slightly. Don't know.
Well.
Who is it? Sienna?
Yeah, it's Sienna.
Yeah. I mean, it's as good as the first.
Come on, everyone in the coterie has got to piss you at some point.
Yeah, more recently, I mean, I did have a little spat with Dakota. You know, you witnessed it. So, do you really want me to? Do you really want me to draw all?
Look, you might as well start. Draw me.
Okay, fine.
Crowley just gets naked. Now you draw me.
Paint me like one of your French vampires.
I will draw you. Okay, next. I
The best one of all.
Damn.
Yeah.
I almost think you might have been studying me.
Well, you're right in front of me. I have you fresh in my mind.
Good to know.
It is like she is like, no, you're right there.
I'll draw.
I should have given you a bonus on that one. Now that I think about it. But...
I was gonna draw Dakota next.
Oh wow! It's almost like she jumps at the page.
Dakota's claws are just like halfway sticking out.
This is how I remember Dakota, and then I'll draw Ollie next.
Wow, everybody just pisses you off. We're just getting. Are we getting upset? Are you getting? Out of curiosity, I know you're drawing. You know, you're drawing basically everybody reading the coterie. But is this is Ava really serious while she's doing this?
No, at first she was. Yes, he was. But now that Crowley's saying, "Oh, we've all pissed you off," then I'm like, okay.
So now you're just kind of having a good time and just drawing and drawing. And so these are less detailed drawings, happening a little faster, a lot more sketch art. But again, as you watch her do this, even as she sketches, she has a talent for this. She is incredibly artistically talented. She has an eye. Almost all of her sketches, while they're not, they might not be a masterful artistic rendition of somebody who's mastered the pencil. The way she draws, the position she draws, gives an eye for camera. She has almost an eye that acts like her own personal lens.
You're pretty good at this.
Could be better. So, what's the... I guess I'm going to be... This is a shroud of mystery here. Are you going to reveal the reason for me drawing all these people?
Yeah, we're nearly there, but need a couple more. I don't want to pry too much, but would Saito be on that list?
He has pissed me off every once in a while. So, yes, I suppose I would draw him also. All right. What about people who are not here anymore in this world?
I mean, again, yeah, you have a good memory.
How many times have you drawn Zach? I'm curious.
I was gonna say Zach.
That's why I'm
Zach
like,
is just
I'm
in
like,
the background of every single character.
That's why I'm like,
The eyes are always Zach's eyes on every single one.
I want to respect my brother as he's not here anymore, but at the same time, he's probably the one who's pissed me off the most.
Well, feel free to draw him. This is consider this a unconventional date.
Fine. And then last, I will draw Zach.
Okay.
With the last intelligence craft here.
You want to draw Cammy?
Okay. It's well done.
Cammy, she has made me mad a few times, but I feel a little bit more in touch with her now. I don't really hold that against her.
Sure, but drew the rest of your coterie.
I feel like there's a reason you want me to.
No, don't let me impinge upon what you do. You don't have to draw if you don't want to.
I will keep Cammy out of this experiment game, whatever you're doing here.
Fair enough. It's not an experiment.
Sorry, I shouldn't think that you're trying to do some sort of social experiment. I'm just very confused.
Don't worry. I imagine being part of the Camarilla makes you used to being a social experiment, especially being a Toreador.
Yes.
How does it make you
exactly.
feel?
How does it make me feel?
Yeah.
How does what make me feel?
Being a social experiment.
Being a social experiment? Oh, I don't really think about it much. I just let it go, I guess.
Why is that?
I don't know. I guess I just think it's how things are supposed to be. It's in our nature to just be these social experiments, as we say. It's not really, I don't know. I never think of it as a bad thing. I just think of it as a thing, if that makes sense. It is what it is.
And I hold up the picture of the prince. But isn't just having a prince and so on, isn't that in our nature?
It is. It is. Having a prince in a city is important to keep order, to keep...
Right, but you're frowning right now.
I think it's good to have a leader who you can trust, who you feel is the right person. You know? I thought she was, but I was wrong. And I admit that I was wrong.
Take the character.
Hmm.
Where? Pull up to concert building. What does it look like?
The concert hall. Yeah, you've been driving. Well, yeah, you had her driving the drawing during the entire drive. But eventually you get up to the concert hall, and it's actually not that large. It's really nice on the outside and well taken care of, but it's not the giant concert hall that you find downtown Chicago. Instead, it's like 2 stories, probably about half a city's blocks in size. It doesn't take up the whole thing, and goes back about half a city block as well. The actual name of the is blanking on me right now, but I have the name written down. So give me 2 seconds, and I can get that for you. But beyond that, it's quiet. The lights are off. There's a few people wandering around on the outside, walking and chatting. They're not practicing social distancing, and they should be arrested, but they're not going to be.
Wash your hands.
This is all, it's World of Darkness. Nobody washes their hands in this world, none of that stuff.
It's why it's so dark.
That's why it's just so gross.
This is how the kindred makes friends.
Right, exactly. And so, you kind of pull up to the small little concert hall, and this is in, Ava, this is up in just into Brujah territory, like just over the line, right near Malkavian territory, but into Brujah territory. The Brujah Primogen, for those who need a reminder, is Cretius. He has not been spoken to or, sought out in any way, and he has not come looking for you either.
I don't come up to these parts much. At least not recently.
Well, they seem to be nice folk.
Oh, are they? You've been here before, I assume?
Well, I had to rent it off someone.
Sorry, the Bennett Gordon Concert Hall.
Well, I am a fan of performances.
Perfect. Although, I've got something slightly different in mind.
Oh.
Well, I know that you suffer in places that aren't less than perfect.
Yes. It is the bane of my existence.
Well, thought I'd go somewhere a little bit more artistic. Try and avoid that.
That is exactly where I would love to go.
I guess at this stage I could blindfold you or something, but I think you've had enough of people limiting you. Let's go in. As we go in,
All right.
You'll see on the stage there's a whole load of old punching bags and so on set up. There's a couple of archery butts, and there's a few tables with miscellaneous knickknacks on them. Just random stuff. There's a phone, there's a melon. One of them has a set of bottles.
Interesting.
It's nice walking in here, Ava. You haven't been in a concert hall in a while. Being downtown and being part of an Elysium hasn't really been anybody's go-to in the most recent of nights, especially for Ava. But entering a concert hall again, the cleanliness of it, seeing all the seats sweep down at this arch from the top all the way to the bottom, down toward the floor where the live orchestra would play. a gorgeous stage with a curtain. Again, you've been in bigger, you've been in more beautiful, you've been in grander, but there is no denying the magic that a concert hall like this, where art and music play live, it just gets into your blood and you just can feel it, even just the echoes of it. It's nice. It's been a long time.
And Ava will just kind of look around, look at the architecture, look at the stage, and just kind of take it in for a minute as we walk in.
And in the middle of the stage, on a tripod, it's a very fancy-looking camera.
Ooh.
I guess Ava would probably recognize it as a really high-speed camera.
Hmm.
Is it
Wow.
a DSLR?
It's one of these very expensive high-speed cameras that like the slow-mo guys or whatever use for taking like that really slow-mo...
Oh, it's a slow-mo camera?
Yeah.
Nice.
Ooh. If you want to get a hold, I love you, but if you want to get a hold of a slow-mo camera, that's a resource dot, my friend. That
Done.
shit's expensive.
Done.
True.
Sorry, pop a resource dot.
I will buy a slow-mo camera.
Absolutely.
Where are my resource dots?
You can definitely get one. You can definitely get one in Chicago. They're just pricey as fuck. I would
Yeah,
love a
probably.
slow-mo camera IRL.
Well, that's what.
Okay, but you see, you see a slow-mo camera on here. This concert hall. He's saying he's rented out. And to see a quality piece of equipment sitting on a stage like that, Ava might not even have gotten her hands on a slow-mo camera before. In
Probably
general,
not.
though, Ava was much more of a still life photographer. No, she took, she didn't do like a movie shooting or film, any film. So she might
Nope.
not even necessarily recognize it right away. You're welcome to actually go ahead and make me an intelligence academics check, specifically, Ava.
Sure.
Yeah,
Four.
you recognize it. You don't use it. You've never used one before, and it takes you a minute. But oh yeah, you recognize that for what it is.
Wow. I've used one of those myself, but I sure have seen many of them.
Well, I guess today's your lucky day. One of the few things I know about you before you became a kindred. Someone mentioned something about photography, and then when I gave you that, cheap Polaroid camera, you certainly seemed to know it and be a bit disdainful.
Yes, that is. In a previous life, that's what I used to do.
Miss it?
Full time. Yes.
You miss it?
I do. I do in some ways. I miss the scene. I miss the atmosphere. I miss being around all of those people. I do miss it. I miss the art of it, the craft.
In which case, gesture all the stuff. Consider this a little bit of art.
Huh.
The camera's set up to take like a number of images immediately after each other, and then you can like pick a few and it'll just delete the rest at the moment.
So
So-
what is all of this, Crowley?
Well, I tried to take a few things. I know that, the Masquerade stops you really sometimes enjoying certain abilities and powers, and sometimes not. Having to restrain yourself. And I also know that, you did art, you did photography, and you miss it. So... Oh, and I also know about the whole, repressed hatred thing that the camera will have got going on. So, why don't we take the advantage, I know we've done a bit of training, to smash a few things, record it on a high-speed camera, and you can stick people's faces to them and then take your anger out on them. Crowley produces
You
like
know-
duct tape and a staple gun.
It all makes sense now. You know what? That actually sounds like a lot of fun.
Well, you'd like
I
it.
have to say, I've done some abstract shoots before, but this is definitely one of the more abstract concepts, and I very much like it.
Perfect. Abstract's a bit my style. So,
All right, so where
whose
should we
face do
start?
you want on what?
So, what would I do the most damage to? I guess it would be the punch. I don't think the punching bags, because I'm not really like a strength person.
Yeah, I'm not expecting you to punch the punching bag. Crowley probably pops over behind the stage and pulls out an array of weapons.
Oh, okay.
That's why it's a cheap and old punching bag. It's not gonna live.
Cool. Let's see. Well, let's start with the people I am angry at the least. Let's just take it slow first.
I'm very interested to see
and
who comes first on this list.
and then we'll save the best for last. The worst for last, I should say.
All
Let's start with. Well, let's line up the coterie. Since you made me draw them, you, Dakota, Ollie.
Fair.
Let's line each of you up.
Right next to each other. And what are you gonna do?
This is the most messed up shit.
Right?
This is kind of messed up now that I think about it.
I know
Look,
you're
it's
sad.
perfectly normal to have mixed feelings about everyone in your life. Even your friends piss you off occasionally, and it's okay to admit that.
Sure, but I don't want to cause actual harm to any of you. I don't want to. You know what? Fine.
This is
Okay,
where you find out he's a secret Tremere and all they're all like voodoo tied to their pictures.
Yes, you beat
Suddenly
Dakota
you
up
all
some
feel
way, Dakota's
pain
like,
in your shoulder. That's really scary.
That would
Think
be
about.
the best. That's a new character I want to do.
All right. Well, I like you guys, so I don't really want to cause a lot of harm here. What's something that we have here that's not exactly what were some of the other things you had? Did you say you had like little props and like
Yeah, so there's
Little-
like there's some like old punching bags. There's a archery butt. There's a little like a table with a melon on it. A table with some bottles. There's probably a table with like a rotary phone. There's probably even one with like an old CRT monitor or TV or something.
Huh. Let's take the melon and tape Dakota to it.
Okay, we
and
tape
throw-
Dakota to the melon.
and throw the melon to the wall.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So, I like how you're like, let's tape the picture of Dakota to the melon, and then instead of like, and then we'll throw knives at the melon,
And then
or we'll
not
shoot
for
it with
that,
a
just-
I'm
bow
going
and
to
arrow.
smash it on a brick
She
wall.
just sticks it to the melon, then she's like, and just hucks it.
Perhaps
just
it
hucks
makes-
the melon.
Yeah.
Can I get a
Fair
strength?
enough.
Can I get a strength?
Athletics.
Athletics?
Athletics?
Yeah, I guess a strength athletics. You're two-hand hucking it instead
Yeah,
of one hand
throwing
hucking
is-
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, 2 successes. That's surprisingly
Well,
good.
it hits the wall, and you can hear it kind of like crack, like the rind of the melon cracks, and then as it hits it, and then it goes whoop, and just hits the ground. You hear it crunch. Some of the melon actually like begins to spill out. Doesn't
Oh.
shatter. It's not like you used a lot. Like you're stronger than you remember, but you don't get to swing or you express that strength very often. But still, he didn't like
I-
shatter it.
I looked at Carl. Am I doing this right? Is that what was that the goal here? Did we capture that on footage? Hold on. I didn't
Yeah.
turn the camera on. I like run over and like
Crowley
set
would have
it
like
up.
turned the camera on for you. He doesn't have the same
Okay.
like artistic eye, but it was caught like several slow-mo stills.
Okay. Cool. All right. So, next, let's do Ollie. And I grab the Ollie portrait. What should we do for this one? That bottle, perhaps.
Yeah, there's like a
It's,
stack of bottles.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm gonna throw the bottles at Crowley.
Yeah.
And start throwing them at Crowley.
Yeah,
Crowley
you know what?
pulls out a
Let's,
selection of weapons, just like whatever you want, or you can throw them again.
I'm gonna take a baseball bat and I'm gonna try to throw it and hit it. I'm not very good at this, not very athletic, but I will do my best.
Crowley, as you
That's
go with the
fine.
baseball bat, Crowley like he says, "Might I recommend?" Pulls out an extended baton.
Okay.
Much better than a bat.
Yeah.
It is
So your plan is to
Also-
like,
dexterity rather than strength. It's one-handed.
very true. You're gonna throw a bottle in the air and then swing it. Is that the plan?
Yes.
So just give me,
yes.
a dex athletics check. That's all we're looking for here.
Yeah, Crowley will like
Sure.
chuck the bottle like a nice slow arc.
Yeah,
as
like
it
a
comes down.
slow pitch and just wham. And as he has you've seen Crowley use his daggers before, his chained weapons, and his accuracy is impeccable. And so it very simply lobs one. He doesn't even need to make a roll. And Ava with one swing, it just shatters. The entire bottle glass spills across the ground, sliding across the smooth, polished wooden surface. And then the echo of the glass shattering just reverberates throughout the concert hall. This place is built to carry audio, and that is maybe even a little cathartic feeling for Ava. There's no, I mean, I can't tell you how Ava feels about it, but letting out a little of that, even just everyday life, getting to be able to just let out some of that frustration. It's like letting a valve a little bit. It's just, while your beast is not, roaring at the cage and not like looking to be freed and go into a fury frenzy, there's still just a little bit being sated there as just that cathartic release of destroying things. And then another bottle gets tossed. Another athletics, Dex athletics, please. These are just the feelings that are going kind of through Ava as the bottles are being thrown. And again, and it just joins the cacophony of echoing shatter throughout. And this happens for as long as you want it to.
Yeah, you'll see Ava kind of like smiling and laughing as this is happening. She's having fun with it, and yeah, it's fun.
So,
well,
you seem actually having fun for once.
Yes, actually, this is I'm usually a bit more refined than this, of course, but being able to let loose a little bit is great. Even in this dress, I'm doing great.
Now that you think about it, Crowley, I don't think you've ever seen her not in a dress.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
I considered being like, hey, don't wear a dress. We're going to do something different. And I was like, nah, she'll do it in a dress.
Yep.
So, we get all of the people, my friends, out of the way, because I do consider you all my friends, even though I'm hitting you with various objects. Let's move on to the people I have a bit...
The ones that actually make you a little bit upset.
Yeah, that I have a little bit more.
We were just a warm up.
Yeah, you were just a warm up.
You guys are just warm ups.
Who are you definitely upset with? Who are you the least definitely upset with?
The sheriff.
Really? Okay.
I was gonna say, you
Saito.
sure about that? Saito is the least upset.
Saito is the least upset with. It would be Saito, the sheriff, and then Saito, Sienna, sheriff, and then.
Do you want to add Zach to
that? Yeah. Forgot about Zach.
Yeah.
So, Saito and Zach I'd put together because the two of them dragged me to freaking Madison, and I'm really mad at them still for that. So I am going to put them both together, and they're both going to suffer together.
Maybe like both sides of a punching bag?
Yes.
All because of that one session, and honestly, that moment in time would stick with Ava for a long time.
Yeah, that was a crazy...
That was a turning point for Ava.
Yeah, that was a crazy series of events. So I am going to remember that specifically while I'm taking a bat to this punching bag and smashing it at both of them, or whatever object Crowley recommends.
Are you going
punching bag? What about sword?
Sure.
Okay. You're going to go ahead and just swing at the punching bag. I just want a very simple a strength brawl.
Would it be melee dex?
Melee dex doesn't really matter. I'm just looking for one basic thing here. And one success, while you're not like Ollie and you couldn't cut through this thing in one swing. Ava, as you collide the sword into the punching bag, obviously you expect it to give. It's a freaking sword against a punching bag. What you don't expect is it takes you 2, maybe 3 swings to get through this thing. It is, as a mortal, Ava was not, she wasn't physically apt. She wasn't like a bodybuilder. She wasn't strong. But even with her frail frame here and being able to explore her strength a little bit, something that she hasn't really ever done before, there's a surprising simplicity in being able to just cut through this punching bag with a sword. Even for what, most would look at you and be a frail person, just right through. It's not necessarily revealing. It's not something you didn't know you could do. Obviously, you did know, but it's just something you don't get to experience often.
Yep. All right. And then I would move on to Sienna. I would do the same. I would kind of go through Sienna.
Now, does Crowley, during all this, while she's doing it, is he literally just taking a very passive role of just like helping with suggestions, maybe like, here, have this, obviously, but otherwise, is he simply just standing back, and watching and just facilitating the next and the next and the next.
Yeah, unless Ava says anything, he will
Okay.
facilitate. She seems to be having
I'm just
fun.
curious
He doesn't want
because
to stop her fun.
I kind of see in my mind's eye, obviously the lights are on and the stage is lit and Ava stands, as center stage as possible as she moves through. But Crowley kind of stands half lit. He's not out of the light, but he's like half in it, half out, off by the side. Like I said, stepping in and giving you a weapon or a suggestion if Ava seems like she's just kind of, trying to figure out where she wants to go next, but seems to be relatively like a director. It truly is more like an actor and a director helping facilitate the scene for Ava. And so the next comes up after she's taken care of Saito and Zach's drawing on the punching bag, having cut through them and the punching bag spilling its sand all over the stage. She steps back, gets ready for the next.
All right. Let's move on to these Camarilla folk. Sienna, the sheriff. Let's put them on this target here. You have this archery type thing.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at archery, as you can see. Type thing.
It's called a butt.
Yes.
Very useful.
Let's try it.
So you want to use the archer? You're going to try and shoot a bow and arrow at Sienna?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh God.
That is going to be Dex. I guess it would be not fire. No, crossbows isn't firearms, right? We learned that.
Yeah,
crossbows
bows
is
is
firearms.
athletics.
Bow and arrow is not.
Bow's athletics, yeah.
Yeah, athletics. So just give me an athletics. Dex athletics.
Dex athletics. Okay.
At least you have 2 in athletics and you have 2 in Dex. So
Yeah.
it's 4. Yeah. I mean,
So
you
4.
pull back on the bow and there's very little resistance for you. It's pretty simple and you let it go and it just kind of, with a thwip, flies through the air and within an instant, it just hits the picture of Sienna.
With like
Oh,
two,
pretty
could you
dead
like
on.
get both eyes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you take
Both
another
of those
shot.
pretty eyes. I made sure to do good with the eye, the drawing. of
As
her
you like made them
makeup.
anime eyes just so you can hit them.
Definite emotion
Yeah.
went into that one.
Yeah.
And so you're able to take a couple shots and thwip, and you knock it over the picture, placing them square in both of the eyes of Sienna.
Now let's move on to the two.
Looks like you really
that-
enjoyed
How does
the
Ava
butt.
feel after that? How is Ava feeling now that you've moved beyond your coterie? We start moving into the people that,
You have actual.
well, you might have more of a. It's not that you don't have actual beef with your coterie. You've all disagreed
Yeah.
many a time, but with Sienna, there is a difference. There's a difference here. Now you're moving into the people that Ava believes are personally working behind her back to use her or cast her out. So how does Ava feel now? What are the emotions that are coursing through Ava as the arrows fly through the air and you change your focus and maybe the joking becomes a little less lighthearted, and while there's still jokes being made, there's a little bit more levity and gravity to them.
Yep, that's exactly it. I think she was clearly smiling, laughing earlier. Now she gets a little more. She's got like a little bit of a hint in her eyes of she's enjoying this
Mhm.
in a weird way. Like she really wants to
Truly
to
cathartic.
let this. Yeah, exactly. So now let's move on to the last two. Crowley, what do you think we should do with these two?
Well, I think it is. I could give you a suggestion for one, but since it is your personal beef, I don't want to give you, too much direction for both. But there's probably like an armchair in the corner, like a really old armchair that he got from like some sort of jumble sale or something. It's probably a bit tatty, smells probably of like a bit of smoke and like dog. Pulls out a chainsaw.
Whoa. I've not used one of these before. I
Neither
keep
have I,
saying that, but
I thought it would look good on the camera though.
yeah. You know what? Let's stick the sheriff on this ugly piece of furniture and rip it apart. Let's do it. And I'll do just that. I'm gonna try to rev this thing up.
Yeah, and so you give it a couple times, and it's not hard to get it going. It's really not. Maybe again, your mortal life it may have been, but here you're able to hold it with one hand, and you can just pull on the string a couple of times, and the engine and everything starts going. You can pull the trigger a little bit, spins really like it echoes in here. It is loud to have this chainsaw running in this But but you have to shout at each other to basically communicate if you even want to, or does Ava just fucking go for it?
I'll just go for it.
Okay. I mean, there's no rolls you need to make. I'm not
Oh,
gonna make
okay,
you
yeah, I
like attack
guess.
rolls with a chainsaw. You
Athletics,
just
no, just
go. It just and you just rip shit up. And it doesn't take very long before you're left with tatters and destruction at your feet.
Now, that would definitely look good on the camera.
Yeah, I'm excited to see those shots. All right.
And we'll say all this destruction took once you've gotten here and conversation between each one, probably like an hour to somewhere between 1 and 2 hours.
You ready for the last one?
Yeah, this last one. This one, it's a little more personal. I think I'm going to go back to one of these punching bags because I kind of want to look at this picture. I know it's just my shitty drawing, though. I did do pretty good with this one. But I kind of want to look at it.
Okay.
I'll tape this photo or this drawing of the prince to one of the punching bags that's left.
Mhm.
And I will take the sword again. And I just kind of like stare at this for a second, and I start just like thinking about a lot of the things that I've been through. I think about that. Really, the first memory that comes to my mind is that time I was in the room with her eating that body. And I
Mhm.
just think about that for a second and thinking about eating that body. And then I just have at it. I just...
Out of curiosity, would Ava tempt the beast? Would she allow herself to get so angry when she like genuinely looks at this picture? And is there an opportunity for the beast to try?
To be honest, yes, because she really,
Make me a Fury Frenzy check.
Yeah, as much as she tries to say she's moved on past this, she hasn't. So
Certainly. There's a lot more than just the body that was eaten.
Yeah.
The being removed from the rose garden.
I think the limit might be 2.
I think the limit is 2. I'm going to double check very, very quickly. I think you Fury Frenzy, but just hang tight.
Hope you're ready for this, Crowley.
Oh, I am.
You set
Good
this
thing
up.
about being a Toreador Fury Frenzying is if you're Fury Frenzying... Oh, no, just said Fury Restrained. It just popped up on the thing and said Fury Restrained.
Well, it says Fury Restrained because it thinks the limit is 0. It depends. The threshold depends on the type.
Oh, yeah, minimum is 2, so you fail.
Okay.
We consider this physical provocation or harassment, insulting, being insulted, any of that, public humiliation. All that is like 2. So
Okay.
Oh man. Okay.
Uh-oh.
So good thing about being a Toreador is you can't really use your mental powers when you're Fury Frenzying. There's no real way to focus yourself. That's what makes Gangrel scary, because they can just keep using all their powers. They're all just physical. However, you begin to swing at this thing, and you allow the memories to well up. In fact, you made a very specific point to bring up those memories when you were describing this. So Ava actively thinks about this as she begins to punch, and Crowley watches kind of just from a few feet away. And the first punch, you see, the thing kind of swing back, and the second punch, it swings back a little further. And each punch, while it may not be harder or harder, what ends up happening though is you just see her lose some of her poise. Her posture hunches a little more, and each swing comes a little faster and a little sooner than the one prior to it. The bag doesn't have a chance to swing back most of the time before she's swinging again. Ava, your mind, you bring these memories up. You let them swell. You allow them to linger and rot and fester like the undeath that you live now. And it hangs over your every action, your every swing, until eventually the beast basically begs you, let's just take care of this now. And while you want to say no, The power of the beast can feel infinite compared to what little mortal soul remains within you. And the temptation to allow it to run and ripple through your body is too high. You're going to go kill Prince Bella, and you're going to do it right the fuck now. And so, Crowley, you see the bag get knocked off of its hinges and hit the ground, and she turns and just starts walking out.
Okay. Ava, are you feeling okay?
Ava does not respond.
Right.
I just want to double check because I think she gets bonuses to resist mental assaults and stuff here. I just want to make sure.
Let's go kill the prince.
You're gonna try.
Oh boy.
I wouldn't say let's go do anything when your friends.
Yeah.
All right. So you can only use physical disciplines: celerity, fortitude, potence, blah blah blah. You resist mental disciplines, dominate, and presence, with 3 extra dice added to your pools. If the discipline has no resistance pool, the user adds +2 to their difficulty. The player, you can spend willpower point to assume control of your character for a single turn while frenzying, but you may not use willpower dice to re-roll, and you cannot be provoked by another blah 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 because you are already fury frenzying, so you can't be. You basically, once you start fury frenzying about a target, nobody can change your target. You can't like refocus you as a weapon and be like, all right, let's go fury frenzy after this person.
Mm-hmm.
So you are going to go kill the prince. You're convinced you're going to kill the prince. In fact, it's going to make the whole world better. And besides, she deserves it. You know where she sleeps. You know her ivory tower. Hell, you had a penthouse suite 15 floors beneath her. You're on your way. Crowley, you ask for Ava, and she just walks. What does that Crowley do?
I'm going to bring out my trusty weapon,
Mhm.
and I'm just going to spin it, and I'm going to try and grapple her with it.
Okay.
Ooh.
You may make your attack roll. Are you going to use any of your abilities that cause 1 difficulty?
Not yet, no.
Okay, so you're just going to make an attack. Okay, Ava, you're just
from-
gonna make. She's just gonna. I'm just gonna tell you what you're gonna do because you're frenzying, but you're gonna make
Yep.
the rolls. You're just gonna. What's gonna happen is you're just gonna get defensive roll here. So it's just gonna be Dex Athletics for basically resistance or dodge, and then once you realize he's attacking you, you're just gonna go at him. Okay, Crowley, you succeed with 1 addition, 1 hit, 1 success compared to her defense. And you're just looking to grapple her, you said, right?
Yeah, just a grapple.
Okay.
Especially the sword. Like, I'm very like, yep, that is a weapon.
Oh, Ava would have dropped the sword. She's not
Okay.
proficient with that shit. She was punching the thing. Even if she started with the
is
sword,
proficient with that. She's got 2 points in melee.
even if she started
Okay.
with the sword, she specifically said she started punching. And so once you enter the fury, there's no thought. She's not picking that sword back up.
Okay, good.
So you were able to hit her with the chain. It wraps around one of her legs, and with a short tug, you essentially pull her to the ground. She's going to be treated as grappled, and it's going to be opposed grapple checks basically from here on out.
Yeah.
We're just going to go a few more rounds here. But remember, anything, he actually, you don't have to worry about anything mental there. Now the next turn, now he's getting in your way. There's this, you recognize Crowley, sort of, but he's insignificant to what you want to do right now. And if killing him means Prince Bella dies, the greater good, etc., etc. And so you're both going to start going at each other. So everybody's going to be making opposed grapple checks. I just want to double check something real quick.
I would like to use my 5th level ability to do a quick action.
Go ahead and rouse me.
I pressed the button.
I'm sure it'll show up.
Okay. I turn the camera on and point it at us.
Okay.
Oh.
So basically, so this is one where you're not doing the 1 difficulty, you're doing the take control, go far away. Okay.
Yeah,
So
I just like,
within a blink, it's something that you can see, Ava. It's hard to register, and honestly, you don't even give a shit. It just means you need to kill this dude. You see him flicker away. He's on the stage for a second. The camera just gets whipped around, and he's back into his position with that, holding the chain. And you don't even have a moment to react before he can do that. I would really love the rouse check to happen.
I would too. There we go, pass.
Come
There we
on,
go.
There we go.
You called it out and it happened. It respects you.
you.
But that means Ava's going to be able to get up because you're no longer using an opposed grapple check since you used your turn.
The action
to move back and
happens.
forth?
It doesn't take my turn. It's an action that happens real quick, and then my turn
Okay.
continues.
Gotcha. So wait, that doesn't count as your turn's action?
No. I only I can't even make an attack using it. It's just an action that happens preceding all.
Right.
other
No,
events.
I knew that, but
Yeah.
I still thought it would take a turn because turns are technically 3 seconds in World of Darkness, so I wouldn't be surprised if it took your turn. But that's fine.
Yeah.
You still want to hold her. Oppose grapple checks on both your ends, either way. It's just gonna be strength brawl for you, Tracy, because you're desperately trying to just pull this chain off of you. And it's gonna be this.
Yeah.
You're, unless he rolls no successes on his check, you're gonna end up staying
what
grappled.
actually should I work? Dexterity to just loop the chain over us some more, or should I be rolling strength to just like hold on to
strength as you're holding her, and you're just basically going and treating as you're pinning her.
One. Was a poor roll, but it's still one.
I mean, it's still one. You still
Yeah.
you still win the grapple check. So here's the problem. How do you plan on getting her out of frenzy? Because frenzy, as all kindred know, is not something that like lasts a certain amount of time. It can last until you basically put her in a torpor, until she accomplishes whatever goal she has in mind, which you can make assumptions, but you obviously don't know entirely. You can make rolls, Tracy, to resist, but only lasts a round. What is the so Crowley? You knew this was going to be a risk, especially with what you were planning on having her do. What's Crowley's plan at this point? Just to hold her there until she gets she tires herself out?
Yeah, I'm basically going to spend a few more turns to tire herself a little bit, but also to be able to secure like the rope properly so that we can have a proper conversation, or at least I can have a proper conversation while she rages. I'm just going to spend like a lot of time just building that up and effectively trying to grapple her enough.
So what I want then is we'll use a 3-round combat rule. One more opposed grapple check. If Crowley succeeds, we're going to move the scene on. If Avis succeeds, we'll see what happens in the next one.
Okay.
So strength brawl on both.
Can I?
Oh, strength brawl. Sorry, I did strength athletics.
Oh, I was like, there's no way I'm gonna. Can I add willpower to this, or is that
you are frenzy? You can't focus.
Strength brawl. Okay.
Yeah, strength roll in mind as well.
Correct.
Yes.
Remember, I should remind you, you're getting a +2 to your difficulty because she's frenzying. Any checks on her +2? I want to double check.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's mental. I'm wrong. Continue.
Yeah, I was about to say, I thought it was just mental.
Got no successes anyway, so I only have one die for this.
Success.
Well, that's enough. And so with that last success, we'll consider that. We'll say for the next hour, you are fighting with Ava. She is trying to get your chain off. Anytime you get close to try to stop her, she takes swings at you. And Crowley, for the most part, just plays passively. He's actively keeping you pinned and actively keeping you tied up with the chain, and maybe even makes attempts to try and get through to you. There's nothing there, but time will pass, an hour will pass, and your eventual absolute fury and focus on murdering Bella does come to an end when the scene comes to an end. But we're not going to cut away from the date here. The last scene we'll see is as Ava comes out of it. Maybe there's parts of her dress that have been ripped that she's been trying to just get out and be free and free herself to go murder Prince Bella. But eventually that all does eventually subside, and you're able to gain control of yourself as Crowley's maybe a foot or two away, holding you down, like wrapped up and tangled in the chain. But eventually Ava does come to, and the beast subsides, not because it wants to, but just because it has to.
Crowley will take his jacket off and he'll put it over Ava.
Ava will just kind of sit there.
That one really got to you.
She just tried to climb your door frame.
My cat is also frenzying right now.
Yeah, she's frenzying right now as well.
Yeah, the frenzy does come to an end. You just transfer it to someone else. There's a ability for that. You're wrong tree, but
Ava will sit there and just kind of sit and stare and not say much as she's kind of coming down from this.
Crowley sits next to her.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just kind of look over to Crowley and shake my head. I knew this was gonna happen.
And?
I couldn't control it again. You wanted this to happen?
I didn't want this to happen. But if it did, there's no problem.
Is there, though? No problem? Isn't this... I don't
Being kindred
like
is something
the
you
way
have
I
to
am.
learn. And you don't like the way you are, that's understandable. Not everyone likes everything about themselves. But some of these things we have to put up with, and some of them
I wanna.
we can learn to deal with.
Sample. I just want to
Very
get a
serious
I want to get a recorded
So-
sample of Mimi, like a really good one, and put it on my mixer, so I can just be like, meow, meow. That's
perfect-
Bella.
it's
That's what
per-
Princess
it's
Bella the
Bella.
cat
Yeah,
sounds
Princess
like.
Bella.
Yeah. So anytime I can just be like, meow, meow. Then chat will stop asking where the damn cat is.
Oh. Crowley, I don't like getting like this.
I know. No one likes being vulnerable and having control taken away.
Yeah, especially just. It's dangerous. What if you couldn't get a hold of me and I walked my way downtown to the ivory tower? I walked
Ava.
right up to the.
No offense.
In that moment, I
I'm
was
pretty sure I
ready
can
to do
take
that.
you.
In that moment, I don't think anything would have stopped my drive to go and rip her head off.
It's a long walk and the doors are locked, and I'm pretty sure I can take you. But these are things that happen as a kindred. Things we have to get used to and things we have to learn to resist.
She's so sad. I'm sorry. She's like, I've never heard her making those noises before. Sorry, I'm gonna mute myself. I won't be able to stop.
God damn it, Mathis.
We can't just not do the things we enjoy in life because there's an element of risk. We can just make that risk smaller.
Have you ever been like this before? In this frenzy state where you just want to. The only thing you can think about is that lust for murdering whatever is right in front of you or whatever you want to kill.
I actually woke up like that.
Really?
Yeah, I was a little bit pissed off how I died. Fortunately, Messiah sucker punched me in the face.
So you think about. Think about things too. The things that. Your past. The way you've been wronged.
We've all got pasts.
I know, you just always seem so. Happy. About things. Or you.
I understand there are some things that I can't control. And I know there's a lot of things that I can control with a lot of effort.
Shh. Okay. Shh.
Is she hungry?
I don't know. I think she too is like tired of being cooped up in a room for, with me for
she's
like
like,
3 weeks
"Right."
straight. She's like tired of it.
I think we would all have that reaction to be cooped up with Tracy for 3 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. Was that the whole point of this? Was this to just...
No. Remember, not a social experiment. You're actually having fun. Don't forget that,
Yeah.
because, one little lapse of the beast. That's part of it. Sure, shitty things happen. But you have to remember what the good parts are. You had 1 hour of beast. And to be honest, flip the camera around. Got some pretty good shots.
Now you remember all, like, it's not like you blank out when you're Fury Frenzy. You remember the Fury Frenzy, and you remember him whipping away and whipping back. You know he has you frenzying on camera.
I give the camera to Ava.
I just look at... I kind of go through the photos and look.
Oh, it wasn't a photo. Oh, it's video
Oh,
of you
the
frenzying
video.
for the past hour.
It's a load of stills back to back to back. Like, you can play them back
Yeah.
as a video, but it's more designed like
It would be
with
like a
individuals,
15 frame a second video if you did.
Wow. That was kind of scary.
Being a kindred can be scary.
Yeah.
It's like any amount of power. Power can be scary in the wrong hands. But doesn't mean you can't have fun. You just got to use it responsibly. And you got to be aware that you have this power when you use it. Some people might use their power to go kill the prince. Others might use it to take a picture. Doesn't mean killing the prince is wrong or taking a picture is wrong. That's just a moral judgment you'll have to make. I've got your back. You don't need to worry about the whole frenzying thing. That's why I made sure there was no one else around. It could have happened. And I think you knew that going in. You've been a kindred long enough. And no harm came out of it.
Sorry.
Okay.
What does Ava do with the camera in her hands? Does she while Crowley's speaking to her about this stuff, what is going through her mind with this camera? Does she plan on hanging on to it?
Yeah, I think she will. She does just kind of go through all of the captured footage and just look at it. And
I was planning on just giving you the drive, but honestly I don't know how to get it out the camera, so you might as well have the entire thing.
gladly take it. She smiles. Thanks for this, Crowley.
No problem.
It is nice to have these moments sometimes. I've never done something like this before, I could tell you that much.
Well, it might be presumptuous, but I think you've got enough guys hitting on you that would just be yet another guy hitting on you. I think what you needed might have been just the ability to let loose, remember who you were.
Yeah. It's kind of nice, actually. It really is. Thank you. Again.
Now, I look over at the archery butt, which has still got, you know, the... No, it'll be the punching bag. Still got, like, the top half swinging.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can still see, like, the top half of Bella's head. I hand her a shuriken. Tell you what, if you can hear from here without getting up, I'll tell you what your nickname is.
Make me a Dex Athletics check as you are going to do your best to hit Bella from here.
Ooh, let's see. Come on.
Hey! With two
Two.
successes, it's bare. You almost miss, but you're able to at least connect with the picture. Now it's up to Crowley whether it counts or not because it's not technically on her face. She hits like a piece of the paper, but it's close.
You think that counts?
It's up to Crowley.
I never specified you have to hit the face. I did say you just got to hit the picture, but what do you think?
So I did it then. That's pretty good. If I say
It's
so
like,
myself.
aw, gets turned on.
Yeah.
I did it.
So apparently you're called Danger Thighs.
Danger. Well, I've been called many other things, referring to other things, but thighs. That's a new one. Usually, that's my friend Cammy. She's the one that's got the strength.
That's true.
I don't think they were referring to your strength.
Oh, right. Well, maybe I have heard that before then. Ava will laugh again at that.
Yeah.
It's finally the lightheartedness is. She's not as much in her fury, and she's calmed down a lot more now. So.
And Ava's like laughter is very, very pleasant to hear. It's a very gentle but infectious laugh, even without awe turned on. And we can even say the scene kind of fades away at that kind of gentle laughter that carries away a lighter note on things. Out of curiosity, does Crowley take Ava home at the end of it all? Do you go your separate ways on your own? Who sticks? Does anybody stick around? I'm just curious.
If Ava wants Crowley to take her home, he will. He won't presume that she wants him to take her home.
Right.
Good question. I think we ended on a good note. So Ava's feeling pretty happy. So she's down to, like, if you want to stay out more in the night and let's go have some fun and
Sure.
just yeah. Then we
Oh,
could
so
just,
you want to go out like to a club or something along those lines? Do you
Yeah.
bring him to the club that you know you're welcome in?
Mm.
Because
Yeah.
you could go to the rack. You know you're welcome in the rack. It's just you're not as a VIP as you once were.
Actually, yeah. I would
Do
invite
you
him
want
to go
an
out
audience, or do you just want to enjoy some dancing?
just to enjoy some dancing, like
So you can
not
go to the
really
rack.
trying
In
to
which
be.
case,
Yeah,
we can stay here because it's a lovely.
Oh, I mean, yeah, if you want to, but
has
you
a
could play
speaker
some.
system.
In Bruja Land.
Well, if you don't want an audience, we can just enjoy the auditory
Right.
experience of this concert hall.
Oh, or that.
I have done a little bit of dancing in the past. I'm a little bit rusty though, so if you don't mind being gentle with me.
Of course.
And
Yeah.
for fairness, I'm gonna rouse check to make myself awesome at dancing.
I don't need to because I'm.
All right, your hunger goes up,
Ooh.
And then.
but you do get to give yourself a bonus, a +1.
Oh yeah.
And if you'd both like to, you're welcome to go ahead and make me a dexterity perform check for dancing.
Four
Wow.
4 successes. I mean, he is dexterous. I mean, celerity, he is a fast mofo, so it makes sense.
Do I also have to roll?
Yeah.
Performance. Oh.
And you are, he's got, listen, he's from the 60s. They did weird things in the 60s. It happens. You're not quite caught up
from
to
the
date
60s.
with his, if he's not from the 60s, he's got you fooled, Ava. You don't
Yeah.
know. You have no idea.
My specialty is more Latin dancing, so it's certainly
Sure.
a lot of Latin
Basically,
moves.
like, yeah, you're able to keep up with him, but he certainly leads the way. And the camera kind of pans out from there, and you spend the rest of the night until, you're concerned with daylight and whatnot, dancing away and enjoying each other's company to the best of your capabilities.
At
when
the end of
the
the
night-
night,
Yep, go ahead.
I collect all the pictures.
Mhm.
Many of them damaged, cut in half. Ones with like holes
Oh,
in the
yeah.
eyes. I just put them in a little stack and I give them to Ava as well.
Cool. She'll take them.
And
the
would
camera.
Ava go home on her own after dancing?
Yeah.
I basically want to know
probably.
if you guys are going to separate or stay together when you.
You want to know if we're
go
gonna
home.
bang?
That's not where I was going.
I think
I
I think
have other reasons I need to know.
Oh, other reasons. Okay.
I think Ava would probably go back herself. Yeah. I don't even know where my normal
But Ava,
place to
would
go
you call
home is
would you call
anymore.
one of your retainers to take you home? You still have like people that you know.
I do, I guess. Yeah. But I'm like, I don't even know what home is anymore.
I mean, you also know should you not want to spend the night in a septic tank, Ollie's bar always has, as long as it's a back room, Ollie's always
Yeah.
been willing, and unless it's changed, Ollie's always been willing to give you a place to stay for the night until morning comes as a friend.
Actually,
Again,
You know,
Ollie.
I would.
It has entirely always been open, but I have this weird precognition about some bottles being destroyed with my face on them. So
It's like
You
this
did it,
weird
Ollie.
Sixth Sense itch.
No,
and there's back rooms. It's always open.
you will never know. Actually, I would go back if Crowley was cool with it. I would go back to his place and stay there because, yeah, we were hanging out the whole night anyway.
Would Crowley stick around to clean up the mess, or would he? Not that that was an agreement or anything. I'm just curious if Crowley would stick around for a little longer to help clean up. Maybe wait for the Bruja to get back.
No. If Ava wants to go back and like she has a more important curfew than Crowley, Crowley
Sure,
will go back with
true.
her. Like he's already sorted with the Bruja and said there'll be a little mess. So
No, yeah, the Bruja's not going to be like, what the fuck? I'm just curious if you're. Crowley is one that I see, or at least can imagine being a little bit on the polite side, and if he, had the opportunity to stick around and clean up, he would. But the two of you will head back, and
he'll leave a little note which just says "Thanks, Tank."
Yep, no problem, and that'll be left in
Tank
an
and
area.
Lisa.
Yep, and you'll leave a note where he can obviously get a hold of it. I mean, you paid him good money for this thing, so you're not too terribly concerned. And the two of you can make your way back and spend the rest of the evening going to sleep. Though Crowley stays up a little later to the evening, heading into morning time as it rolls on. Crowley, before we fade out of that scene, was that morning that as Ava dissipates into torpor and goes
Okay.
to sleep for the rest of the night, you are not. I'm assuming Crowley spends a lot of time that last hour going out and seeing the sunrise and enjoying being outside when he can have that luxury, as it's kind of a safe hour. Not all of it kindred, most kindred can't even exist in that hour. So am I wrong in making that
I
assumption?
think tonight, like, because Ava's sleeping in his place, etc., and she was a little bit
he'd
vulnerable earlier.
keep guard on.
He'd keep guard. He'd probably just spend time with his little bonsai tree. He'd tend that. Do a little bit of like repotting it.
Well, if you're gonna stay, that's fine. If you're just gonna stay in your haven for this night and just keep an eye on and for that last hour.
I mean, he'd probably like have a little walk around. He might even pop out very, very briefly, just for like a minute, but he wouldn't spend like excessive amount of time outside.
That's fine. I only as long as you leave the building for a moment. There is a little scene I'd like to have with Crowley as he steps out as Ava dissipates. As Crowley maybe even just to take a breath, and the morning people are starting to wake up and people are going to their early jobs and heading into the city. There is a voice that actually simply calls your name, Crowley. It's sing-song is the wrong way. It's not sing-song. It's a male voice. But the way it speaks and its cadence is strange. Alexander Crowley. And there's a few steps to your right-hand side as you turn, and you see a rather tall figure in a trench coat.
Crowley's going to play it like cool. He's not going to turn.
Certainly, long black hair.
The camera sees it.
Yeah, the camera sees it. Like you blur as the camera's near you. It's a profile shot of you, but the camera defocuses on you as you blur it. It focuses on this tall figure approaching you. And he stands next to you and doesn't look at you, but turns to face the road and lets that kind of question linger in the air.
All right, mate. How can I help you?
Curiosity, simply. One of your kind from New York, now in Chicago, is certainly something worth noting.
Right. I do turn at the mention of New York.
Yeah, and you see the description I gave you, and as you turn, he almost turns in sync with you and faces you.
Okay.
My name is Beckett. And yours is Alexander Crowley. At least that's how you're known here in Chicago. And he smiles. Would you like to step inside for a moment? I only need a few minutes of your time.
What do you know about my name?
I know that's what you go by and nothing more.
Okay. Sure.
And on that kind of awkward shore, he, without hesitation, spins on the ball of his foot and makes his way inside the building. Does Crowley follow?
Yeah, Crowley follows.
And as you walk in, and he kind of stops in the hallway, listens for a moment. You hear no footsteps and no discussion. And he looks is this as private as we could get for now?
Crowley leads him into his one-room basement place. Ava's asleep.
And you see him. His gaze does look over to Ava, but no change in expression as he looks back to you and looks to continue the conversation.
Yeah, vampires in torpor during the day don't see and experience it.
No, correct. They are only aware when they're forced into it via stake.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like you blink. You're out of existence and then you're in existence. It's essentially
like being asleep.
When you're sleeping in the day, you're actually, in a technicality, you're dead.
Yeah, like you've got that very base sense. Like if someone threatens you, you can wake up, right? Like it's very
but like
sleepy. Like you can react to like a loud noise or something. Yeah. All right. Cool.
Yeah. So he gazes back to you. My apologies for such a rather abrupt introduction. I wanted to make sure I had your attention.
Well, you do. I don't know who you are, though, apart from Beckett.
Consider me a scholar of a sort, a collector of stories and histories of our people. And it just so happens that somebody from New York, after a rather explosive event, I'm told, has made their way into a locked-down Camarilla city, only to be recognized after a successful blood hunt of a crazed Malkavian. The one and only of his kind in Chicago, from my understanding.
Right.
I simply wish to know, what brings you here? if it was simply a fluke. Or if there was more to your migration to the city. And don't worry, I understand if you're concerned with speaking anything to me, and if you simply wish to deny me the stories, then I will walk away and nothing more will come of this conversation.
Riley's a little bit taken aback by that.
Hmm?
That's awfully polite of you. Sorry, I'm normally used to the Camarilla guys being a little bit more, demanding.
As they typically are, and to varying degrees of success. And he gives you a very gentle smile.
Are you an anarch then?
Huh. He chuckles again. I do not wear such labels.
Sorry. Who are you? I'm still a little bit lost. You're a scholar named Beckett. You're not an anarch. You're not Camarilla. Are you...
Perhaps the label you could lay upon me is autarchus.
Right.
I am a wanderer of sorts. I don't belong
you're
to
newer
any
as
city.
well.
I have been in and out of Chicago over the years many times. I just don't stay very long.
Huh. Well, fair enough. Well, what do you want to know? Why I'm here?
The events of New York are still muddy. I haven't had time to visit the city in the past, most recent of nights. What caused you to leave New York? Why you arrived in Chicago? If there's even any rhyme or reason behind your actions, or if you're simply a victim of fate.
Oh, fate's a bloody joke. A good excuse when things go shit. Quite simply, everyone I knew is either, truly dead or possessed. So.
Yeah, you speak that of, Chicago?
New York.
Okay.
So I left.
He actually, when you say that, he actually does reach into his pocket. He pulls a book and begins to scribble just very quickly, as not scribble, but like write things down as you speak. When he looks back up, you speak that in a more of a metaphorical manner or a literal manner.
Oh, no, a literal manner, yeah.
He nods and then writes it down again, and then closes the book, but keeps it in his left hand still.
Certainly coming here is a bit of a mixed bag. Blood hunt, great, good excuse. Nearest really major city that's got any stability to New York, also good. Also feels strangely like walking downhill coming here.
He gives you a curious look. I hear while LA no longer belongs to the Camarilla, that the anarchs that rule that city have kept it at least under some sort of stable control.
It's a little bit further.
It is a bit of a journey, and the fact that you've made it from New York to Chicago rather successfully is a feat unto itself.
Well, sleeping in the back of a van comes with certain risks, so I didn't really fancy trying to go any further.
He gives you another grin, but yet your accent speaks of a different origin. Are you not from New York?
No, London.
He gives you a gentle nod. My apologies, and then he just writes a few more things down.
Well, never really part of the Camarilla there, so them going under. Didn't really know many people there. We all moved to go do the New York job.
And that New York job was, and he said, he's like, and that New York job was through process of elimination, and a little healthy guessing was the removal of a very particular powerful kindred.
Well, I guess since you already know. Sure.
It's a guessing. He was this process of elimination. The kindred tend to not act for a long time. But when they do, it sends waves through all those who touch kindred vitae.
Yeah, well, yeah. Augustus
Before I leave then, what was your involvement in that, if you had involvement at all?
That's a very specific question.
I am unaware of how it all went down. Or perhaps you can point me in the direction to speak with somebody who could provide such things.
Well, my sire's a little bit indisposed these days, but simply put, a lot of my clan can daylight, for the first hour or so is not a problem. Apparently not for you either.
He doesn't say anything.
Okay. Yeah, not a problem. So, late night, as the sun was setting, went in and did a thing. A lot of ghouls. Ghouls aren't a problem for me. Most kindred are still getting up and groggy.
And you end up here. Where do
Right.
the souls of the dead go when death itself dies?
That's a little bit of a confusing one. Turns out a lot of them went into Augustus.
And yet, where do they go when he is gone?
Well, everywhere, and my coterie members.
Is that why you find yourself in Chicago?
Part of it. Not knowing anyone else in New York and being part of a group that only went there to do one thing. Everyone else moved on. Literally.
He is writing again as you speak these other details and you answer a couple of his questions. I will no longer be in Chicago after this evening, Mr. Crowley. So the information you've provided me is invaluable, and I appreciate it. It helps me place the puzzle pieces of a grander event happening. It is appreciated.
What grander event? Or is that,
He actually chuckles. It is not my place, nor my intent to interfere, simply to watch. The events
Okay.
in New York were grand. And you, no matter how tangentially, were attached to them. And so it was of interest to me to find you here in Chicago and hear, at the very least, what first-hand accounts I could. You know how the rumor mill works. Funny how kindred still hold on to some of their bad mortal habits.
yeah. Can I ask you something then?
He actually just kind of gives you a gesture with his arms that invites.
You're not going to
With
answer
invite.
anything about, grand events and all that. That's fine. It's not really my place. How are you still walking around, though? It's a little bit early. I thought,
As you said, you are able to do such things. You truly believe you're the only one.
only people of my bloodline, normally.
Well, I'm not of your bloodline.
Yeah, I didn't recognize you, and they don't take many men.
I am a gangrel.
Oh, I've got someone who I know who would like to meet you.
I believe we've already met.
Well, shit.
And then he looks down at Ava, and I guess that makes 3. Though I have no interest in speaking with her or Oliver.
Oh. How old are you? I know I
Personal
shouldn't ask
question.
that question sometimes, but I think this is an exception.
And what do you think you would learn by learning my age?
You seem remarkably sane and detached and walking around in sunlight for someone so potentially old.
Old enough to know that the kindred are terrible at keeping track of their own history. And I am trying to piece it together. It's been an endeavor that has taken me centuries.
How do you manage it?
By remembering. It's easy, isn't it? To allow that inner pull, that desire to be the monster that sits inside of you, that the beast, as some call it, that some refer to it as. if you do, you're no better than the monsters the Sabbat carry in their ranks. You lose yourself. I believe we all have a personal path to holding on to that. For me, I just choose not to forget.
Oh, no shit.
And you? The sun greets you. I could lay the same question at the son of death, one of the many.
Well, my clan tend to associate it with the whole, Lilith thing.
He actually nods. He doesn't take like a weird kind of like, ooh, strange. And that might itself make Crowley interested, but he simply nods.
Yeah, this is just a very interesting fellow to Crowley.
Mhm.
Very interesting fellow.
To be pulled by the sun and to remember where you once were and have your soul skirt the edge of death on your embrace. A dichotomy many don't struggle with.
Yeah.
And yet you stand here, the sun greeting you gently.
Well, having seen what happens to the older generation of my clan, I do worry that that's what we eventually all become.
It does seem to be the majority.
Augustus wasn't exactly a nice fellow.
I had the pleasure of speaking with him only rarely.
Did you ever speak with Cappadocius? The dude he ate?
Cappadocian.
Cappadocian, that's the one.
The Cappadocian family are... My hands are busy these nights. The events of Chicago and the events of New York, and there's a lot to catch up on. I haven't had the chance to relive what conversations I had with that gentleman many, many years ago. Yes, I had conversations with him.
Out of interest, can you clear something up for me? Was Augustus a Methuselah or an antediluvian? Because people keep getting that. It's really done my head in.
He thinks for a moment, not out of it doesn't look like you stumped him, but he very much looks at you, and it seems like he's processing the answer to that question. And then he goes to open his mouth. Doesn't matter.
No,
What
but
he
he's-
had others believe, whether he was or not, seemed to be powerful enough to convince those to follow. Sometimes the power of a charisma and word are more powerful than the powers of an antediluvian or a Methuselah.
Crowley looks over at AV. AV?
Mhm.
Ava.
AV,
AV.
weird
Pet
nickname.
name. Ava. Yeah, well, I'm getting that feeling.
He nods. I cannot give you a definitive, unfortunately.
Fair enough.
The night is almost over and the sun is almost risen, and I must leave. I just want to say thank you, Mr. Crowley, for the insights you've given me on your past and the past of New York City. Perhaps I should make a visit there soon.
Well, it's open warfare between the Camarilla, the Anarchs, the Sabbat, and I guess some ghosty boys now.
It does seem New York is a mess.
Uh,
And you started in London. How interesting. Perhaps. And he
it was an
smiles.
accident. I made a mistake. Walked down the
He
wrong
smiles.
alleyway.
Perhaps fate has chosen you as its new arbiter of death.
You should
And he
leave
gives
that
a
bollocks.
very kind of like light chuckle at that and pockets his book. Until next time, Mr. Crowley, if there is the luxury of having a next time. And he looks and he just goes to walk out. And as Crowley watches, maybe even confused, and even maybe barks another question at him that is utterly ignored.
Crowley just says thank you.
Sure,
It's like,
and
I don't
he
know what
barks.
to respond with here, so thank you.
As he
Thank you.
watches and confusedly just kind of like says thank you out and he walks out the door, the camera will pan out of the building and fade as the sun rises so we can go on break, as this is kind of a great little place to take a break, and we'll pick up in about 8 minutes.
Right. We'll be back in about 8-10 minutes. Enjoy the fan art during the break. Back in a bit.
You didn't think Beckett wasn't going to be interested in New York.
Yeah, it's just Crowley's a very interesting headspace to talk to Beckett with.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Oh, hey, join the club, EE.
I know.
I was also in just a great headspace.
I'm
before.
like, I'm talking to some dude. He seems a bit weird. You're like, oh, it's Beckett. Okay. Anyway, we're back in a sec. Hello, welcome back to Vampire the Masquerade on Roll For It, playing Silence of Shadows, our season 2. There we go. Apparently plots are afoot.
Yep.
Ava's sleeping in Crowley's bed. Crowley's sleeping on top of a freezer. Beckett made a house call.
Did. Sorry. I think I'm good. Okay.
Oh dear.
I just need to check a couple things really quickly, but we're good. We're good.
Also, I'll eat a point of meat before going to bed.
Okay.
So I'll mark down that I'm eating more of my limited food supply.
Now that that's done, the following night, we need to focus on Ava. Okay, got it. Yeah. No worries. Ava, when you were awake this morning, rouse check me, please. And same thing for
yes.
Crowley.
Oh, crap. I have to roll 20. Because I have to
I like
close out.
that lingering Beckett in your voice there.
I gotta work it out. All right? I gotta get out of character.
When you wake up.
Here, would you prefer this? Butcher.
Oh, no. I remember that voice.
I almost left the Zoom call.
He's like, oh, get out.
Sorry, give me 1 second. My character sheet's being
You're good. No rush.
Rouse check.
No hunger gain for you. Same thing,
Cool.
Dakota and Ollie. We just assume, unless there was something important you wanted to do the prior night, you're still gonna have to rouse me.
I would probably sit around listening to the police radio.
Okay.
Is it... Oh, so we are doing another night then.
Yeah, we're on the next night. If there's something you want to do in the night prior, like, did you want to do that the night prior, Ollie?
That's your call. That's your call if that's something that you...
Okay. Dakota, other than obviously like really intently listening.
Really love to feed.
Well, yeah, you're good. You didn't go up though in hunger.
That one I didn't, but I'm still at 3.
You're
Oh.
at 3? Okay, gotcha. No
Oof.
problem. Other than so you want to feed other than that. Where would you go and feed? Where would you head? Would you head into the rack?
Yeah, it's just quick and easy.
It's quick and easy, so I'm not even, we're not even going to necessarily make this a whole thing. I just want you to make your hunting check as you're going to do, I'm assuming, Alley Cat.
Yeah, strength brawl.
Yep. Basically just find somebody that you can pick off, and with simplistic ease, you find somebody that is drunk, alone, and very, very easily persuaded to hit on somebody who's much younger than him. And then without even a try, you just pin him up against the wall, you sink your fangs into him, and you feed down to 1.
Cool.
Does anybody else need or want to feed before we move forward on the night before we leave? I know most people were doing pretty good on their hunger checks, so I think most people are fine. What is everybody's hunger at now? Dakota's at 1. Crowley, you ate meat and resisted your hunger increase, so you're at what?
And then went to sleep, and then woke up, took another point of hunger. So while I'm waiting for Ava to wake up, I'll eat
You'll
another
pop
point
another
of
one?
meat.
Okay, so are you balancing at like 2?
I'm down to 1,
Okay, cool. You're at 1.
but I'm losing a lot.
Ollie and Dakota, what are you're obviously Ollie and Ava, what are you guys at for hunger? Okay.
Uno. 1.
No, you're all looking
Yeah.
mighty fine.
Okay,
This is the best we've all been in.
Yeah, you've all been
Oh,
good.
wow.
You've all been
I mean,
taking care
I'm
of it.
always at 1 until
Yeah.
I run out of meat, and then I'm
Yeah.
screwed.
Right, exactly. That's the danger.
There's
of
always
being,
more bodies. Don't
yeah.
worry.
There's always more. Always more bodies. So before we move forward into Ava's scene, actually, Ava, let's just go to you real quick. Let's do this. Heading into the rack, following the advice of a Lasombra who gave you a little clue in on a particular nubile young man who decided to take the position of bouncer at a bar that belongs to someone within the Camarilla. You have been unable to work your way into these places, and it's been frustrating. And generally, while it's dangerous to go off and feed with strange kindred, and while she certainly has put you in a rather vulnerable situation, she's asked for minimal, and she's actually offered you something that you've been needing for a while. And we see Ava fall into and become a drop of water in an ocean of people, whisked away in the popular streets as the weekend has come about, and to mingle with the mortals like you are is always reinvigorating. It's like recharging your batteries, creative or otherwise. You make your way down the street, and bars on your left and bars and clubs on your right completely fill your vision. The smell of alcohol and food eventually peaks over the smell of sweat and sex that permeate the roads here. Eventually, what comes into sight is the Ace of Clubs, the club that you were told of. where the man that you hope to find will be here. You were given a name and a very basic description. Now, refresh my memory. Did I give you a name, or do I need
Eric was the name.
I need to
Eric
give you
the
a name
bouncer.
still? Eric the bouncer, and a very vague description. There is a small line here. It's certainly no popular club like the other ones that you frequent. The Camarilla ones towards the center of downtown are always a line around the block. Here, there's a small line, but it doesn't wrap around the block like you're used to. Now, looking at the bouncer up front, you notice it's not the one that you were described to right away. I imagine Ava just might linger for a little while. Does she do anything out of curiosity, or does she kind of play it coy? What does Ava do when she approaches the ace of clubs and sees that the bouncer that she was informed of is not waiting there?
She will wait around for just a bit to see if
How much time does she give?
An hour or so.
An hour, plenty of time. Then you kind of mingle with the crowd. Do you get in line, or do you stay on like the other side of the city block and watch from afar?
I stay on the other side. I don't want to get in line.
All right. For now, can I simply just get a manipulation performance check? Simply just look like you are not like obviously standing on the other side of the road, and as people walking by you, you are just like awkwardly staring and watching.
That's weird. 0 successes.
Was that manipulation performance?
Yeah.
Okay, no problem.
That's not normal for me. Okay.
I mean, you can willpower 3 of those if you'd like.
I think I will, because
look, it happens to everyone. We all have
No.
a rough night,
Yeah,
et
5
cetera.
die.
No.
I mean, you
Okay.
add 3 successes onto that. So it takes a minute though. Again, you don't frequent these streets on a nightly basis like when you lived in the Ivory Tower. Even when you weren't even planning on feeding, you were still forced through these crowds, and you loved every second of it. It's almost kind of getting back into your comfort zone, shaking off the rust and feeling comfortable in your own skin again, in what should be your own territory. And you stand on the other side of the road. You have light conversation with passersby. People hit on you constantly. People willing to buy you drinks, and I'm sure you take them up occasionally here and there. Do you actually imbibe anything? Do you need to blush of life, or do you just kind of? You don't have to. You can easily talk these people away from you without.
Yeah. Not yet.
So can I get a wits awareness check now as time goes on?
Sure. Awareness with wits. Okay. 3 successes.
You actually notice a car pull up. It's a Corolla, very 2016 Corolla, nothing fancy. It stops a few buildings short of the actual club. You see a gentleman get out of the passenger side as he's quickly throwing on what looks like to be a suit jacket. He has no tie and he doesn't put the suit jacket, button it up, but he looks with a white shirt and dress pants and shoes. He steps out, and as he stands up and you get a full look at his face of this short red hair and the stubble that's growing on his face, he's a rather well-built man. You see him laugh and he's saying something to the driver, and he leans in. You can actually see him give a quick kiss to whoever is driving, and then the car pulls away as he looks over to the club. And you realize this is Eric. This is the one you were described to. He's going to be making his way over, but you have an opportunity here, if you so choose, to get to him before he gets to his shift. Or you can allow him to get to his shift, or anything else that you possibly think of. But Ava catches him before you actually notice him before he heads over there. What does she do?
I will wait for him to get to his shift and begin.
Sure. You see him walk over. He claps his right hand on the shoulder of the other bouncer. He actually stands a couple inches taller than the bouncer here. You guess that Eric is probably somewhere in like 6'3", 6'4" range. He says a quick words into the ear of one. A few things are handed off. Eric walks into the club for a moment, and then within a few seconds, pops back out, gives the guy a pat on the back. They switch spots, and the other bouncer heads into the club, and you don't see him afterward. But Eric is now in charge of kind of guarding the ace of clubs.
So I will make my way up to him, kind of walking past the line at this point.
So you just walk across the street, Ava. What is Ava wearing for clothing here? What kind of attire has she decide to wear into the club? This is the first time she's going to try to make some plays within the rack. Mm-hmm. What is she wearing?
She has a long dress on. It's past her, it goes all the way down to her feet, though she has these beautiful like golden heels that she's wearing. Mm-hmm. And it matches the like embroidery on the dress. She has her hair up, and she makes her way down the row here, and at this point, she would turn
Okay,
on.
so awe gets flung on. And as you're walking up and there's some grumbling, like, hey, what the hell are you doing? You can't cut just because you have an ass like that. You think you can, and then boom, awe gets turned on. And then you hear like whoever was saying, you hear somebody next to him be like, but that ass though. And it suddenly, it goes from raucous to admiration and lust. You walk past and very, very quickly, you have the attention of the bouncer.
Ava will just walk right up. Hi. And she puts her hand out. The name is Ava. You must be Eric.
You catch him off guard by even bringing up his name. And you may make me a manipulation. I imagine persuasion is what you're looking for here. So go ahead and manipulation, persuasion. Remember, you have awe on. So you also add the bonus of your presence die into your any and all social pools.
Holy shit, that's a lot of
He goes, yeah, I am. And he takes your hand, like without even thinking about it. But he doesn't bring it up to kiss. He actually just kind of awkwardly shakes it. And he lets it go. And he's like, and I'm sorry, I don't know your name. I hadn't heard of you until now, but
Oh, but I've heard much about you, Eric.
he looks down at the list. I don't see your names here, but I mean, and he looks to like give you like a, do you want me to write you down?
I would very much appreciate that. As a
Very
matter of
just quickly,
fact,
like it writes you
Eric.
down.
Eric.
yeah, go ahead.
And she keeps saying his name over and over.
Yeah, Eric. And you like he's writing and he's like he really wants to make eye contact with you this whole time. So he's just like, uh-huh.
I heard that this place was new in town and is trying to build a bit of a repertoire among the other clubs and bars throughout the whole block here. I happen to know quite a few lovely people, and I would love to make us all regulars at this particular bar.
All right. Well, he looks down. He's like, well, I can get you, and I don't think any questions would happen. I don't own it. I don't own the place. Here, tell you what. Anytime I'm here and you show up.
I see what you're getting at here. Yes. And you know what? I like that. Let's stick to this lovely relationship we have.
Well, wait, hold on. You're gorgeous. What are you doing? I don't know, like 4.
Well, I'll be here if maybe you and I can catch up a little bit after your shift.
Where can I find you? And he's grinning ear to ear.
Well, I'll be here. I'll be staying here all night, so just find me after.
In the car. No, all right, and no problem. And so he kind of steps out of the way. Ava, you're on the list, and then he kind of goes back to a very like business, stoic personality, and he steps out of the way for you. He lets you in. There's a couple people that are shouting in the back, like, hey, how dare you? But most part, in the people in front are whispering and watching and just in awe of your beauty and your grace. And you file yourself into the Ace of Clubs. And the club here is nothing compared to the clubs you're used to. It's not 3 stories. Hell, there's not even really a second story. There's like a VIP balcony that looks over, but there's no private rooms up front. And the dance floor is the majority of the bottom floor here, with a few booths over by the corners that you can sit in and a couple of tables. And only one bartender operating the bar. It's busy, but not busy enough to get too behind there. And you can enjoy your night. You said your hunger's at a 1?
Yes.
So you don't need to feed unless you want to murder somebody. And so you can just enjoy the filled company for hours on end of the attention. Because unless Ava turns off her awe, which does she?
No, she would keep it on.
You become the star of the club for the night. People are buying you drinks, crowds surround you and all dance with you. And Ava, as the camera kind of sits at the balcony looking down on the mob of people that are surrounding Ava, it's not like Ava has like a foot distance of like people surrounding her and make her the center. It's hard to find her in the crowd. But if you look, you see her with a wine glass in a hand held above her, kind of swaying and moving with the music as the others kind of dance around her. And Ava just drinks it in. She is the star. Nobody takes it away from her. No other kindred, as far as she knows, are even in this club. The people around her enjoy her, and Ava enjoys their attention. Now, unless Ava says otherwise, that's how she enjoys her evening. Does she blush of life to enjoy drinks, to indulge herself even further?
Yes, actually, I will.
Make me a
blush of
rouse
life.
check. And your hunger does not go up. And it's so easy. It's almost like, like you have a bad habit that comes back, and it's so easy to pick up on that habit again. Most of the time they're bad for me, but habits for other people, how easy it is to kind of get back into it. And for here, it's almost instinctual. You're being surrounded by people. People are handing you drinks, and you've got a drink in hand that you haven't even touched already. And almost like there isn't a concentration. Suddenly you just breathe. And it's at that moment you realize you've brought your body back online, so to speak. You now breathe. You can feel the warmth return to your fingers, and you just allow yourself to feel like one of them for the night. So far superior. And afterward, you begin to drink the drinks that are given to you, and you enjoy. Hours pass. The moon crawls across the sky until it's threatening to go below the horizon as the sun threatens to peek over. And that's when, as people are beginning to file out, though the music is still going, the club isn't done, a man with a half unbuttoned top of his white shirt, the dress jacket gone, and him looking a little bit more relaxed, walks over to you, and he just gently grabs your attention. He doesn't move in to dance with you or anything like that. He just is looking to like pull you away from what crowd still lingers. Do you immediately give him your attention? How does Ava play it? Like he reaches out to grab your attention. What does Ava do?
I would immediately go over to him. I was waiting.
I'm so glad he remembered me. He looked around, he's like, I wasn't sure if maybe you got your fill.
Of course not. Of course not. How could I forget you?
He smiles. Does awe stay on? Do you have entrancement? Remind me.
I do have I have entrancement, but I
So
will
entrancement is awe for one person. So out of curiosity, I know it's a rouse check to do entrancement, but basically what you can do is you can switch awe off and then, but never turn it off for him. So the crowd suddenly becomes meaningless, and the only person in your world to him is him. Is that something that Ava would like to do?
Actually, yes. We're switching over to Eric now. So
okay. So please make me your rouse check.
Rouse check.
Okay, you get a little hungrier.
Okay.
You go up to 2 hunger, but
that's fine.
Instantly, as you pull yourself away from the crowd and people kind of linger and glob onto you like water, still holding on to what it's stuck to, Ava, without even looking behind her, her eyes literally locked onto Eric and moving toward him, effortlessly turns off awe. She doesn't change her facial expression. She seems very interested in Eric, and all those people suddenly fade away. The camera that was focused both on Ava and the crowd, suddenly the crowd is unfocused and blurred. And Ava is the shining focus of the camera as she walks towards it and then past it as the camera whips around to show that Eric and Ava are the only thing now in focus. He smiles giddily as Ava walks over like a black widow, ready to strike.
Perhaps we can go somewhere more private. I'm trying to think if there's somewhere here, like, because I know the night is ending.
Oh, you have like another you have like another hour to like hour and a half max.
Okay. So if I like wanted to take him somewhere and then go somewhere where there's no sunlight.
What are you thinking of taking him?
I assume there's nothing really private here. I'm new to this club, so I don't think
as like I said, you examined the club, and even if there are private rooms in the back, you don't know the owners, you don't know any of those people, and you're just taking kind of the enjoyment of the night. You have a few places. I mean, you could bring him back to Ollie's if you really wanted to. I don't think Ollie would ask any questions. You've got the septic tank. He's entranced. He's not going to ask any questions, though he might make a weird snide remark. Obviously, Crowley's place, Dakota's boat. You have options. None of them are yours, but you have.
I would be the least mad if I brought a dude back.
Crowley, Ollie, and Dakota, probably in that order. The danger of Crowley is Crowley's place is not private. Like it's private-ish, but the door isn't locked. He hasn't had a proper haven yet. That's something you guys have been working towards, is working down that way. Ollie at least has the place in the back that he could go to, and the Dakota's boat. I mean, she might give you some lip, but you guys have had multiple nights to spend getting close to one another. I truly don't think Ava has a bad choice amongst the coterie. It's whatever she feels most secure. And Like you have different RP scenarios depending on what you choose.
I know. I feel the most safe at Ollie's bar, really.
Sure.
I feel
Then
like
you go to
that's, like,
Ollie's bar.
Yeah.
That's
Like
fine.
Crowley, I'm just worried about, your place is not, like
Ollie,
Matha said, it's
We'll say the past couple nights for you have been typical. Taking care of the bar, dealing with Grant. It's not like every night is busy for you and you're going to go take care of everything every single night. Most of the nights are your typical nights. The bar's already closed up at this point. The sun is maybe 30 minutes to 45 minutes from rising. Grant's already heading out the door for the night. Hey, boss. He's like, I made good tips tonight. You know, he always offers, by the way, whenever he does really, really well, he always offers to help pay for rent of the bar. I assume Ollie's always like, no. And it goes that way. And as he goes to walk, he's like, all right, have a good night, boss. And as he opens the front door, he's like, oh, please. And he actually makes a grand gesture. In through the front door, first walks Ava, who looks ravishing as always, but no awe on, so you can't tell. And then behind her, like a drooling puppy, is this 20-something-year-old, 6'3" kind of well-built guy. He's got a half unbuttoned dress shirt as a part of his chest is showing, just not because he's like, hey, I'm sexy, but like off kind of like relaxed business hours. He's got dress pants on with black dress shoes that are well polished. And he's got a dumb grin just plastered onto his face.
Is this Meals on Wheels?
Grant laughs. He's like, good night. He just shuts the door and leaves.
Oh, you brought me a stripper? This is going to get...
Ollie.
Eric looks up and he's like, oh, I didn't know you had a... And he just looks...
This is my
Brother.
brother.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
We
Good friends. We met, had drinks, had a good time.
yes. Sorry, if you don't
Should
mind.
I go home? I should go home. I should
No,
go
no,
home.
no,
I didn't know we
no,
were going
no.
to your brother's place. I
Oh, no.
honestly...
We have a room in the back. If you don't mind, brother.
I don't know what. We weren't. No.
Okay. We split rent here. All right. We're roommates.
Yes.
I know it's
we
a
are.
bar. Don't worry about it.
I told you he wouldn't mind. Come on.
Make a resolve composure check. He's very nervous.
It's okay. Ava has brother issues. We know
We got a success. He still looks very tense, but he doesn't say anything. He just looks to Ava and like kind of follows your lead.
I just kind of pull his arm a little bit. You don't mind, right, brother?
Who's not?
Come on.
You just walk him and he's just.
I'll just walk him past Ollie to the back rooms.
And so Ollie, she kind of awkwardly like has this little interaction with you. You see her walk into the back. You hear the door open and then eventually shut. And I assume you hear the deadbolt lock. And Ava, I'm assuming you plan on feeding from him.
Yes.
Do you plan on using Linger Kiss?
Yes. Yes, this was I wanted to do this so badly.
Lingering Kiss, I believe, is a rouse check.
I think it is, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Oh no, it's free. It's cost free.
Oh, cool.
That's great. So, Lingering Kiss, for those who basically don't understand what Lingering Kiss is a power Toreador can grab, or anybody with presence essentially can get. And basically, it makes her bite that much more addicting compared to anybody else. That he's going to wake up the next morning and have the best night of his entire life, bar none, even though he remembers very little of it, because that is unfortunately how it works. And so when you bite him, I imagine that the way this power works is similar to a sort of bond in some sort, not a true ghouling, but I imagine, or at least I like to visually imagine, when you bite him, a little of your own blood gets mixed in with the bite, and a little bit of your vitae finds its way into his veins, and that lingering kiss, the feed, the ecstasy of it all is just that much more intense, ever just slightly. And he gives into himself and allows himself to feel the carnal pleasures of the flesh while you simply feed from him. It happens often. But it's at that moment Ava has a memory. A brief one, and doesn't bother her. But of the Corolla that brought him up. The gentle conversation he had with the driver and the kiss he gave them before he disappeared for the night. She might giggle to herself as she pulls the kid from him and licks the wound closed. Maybe, could be a girlfriend, could be anything. Licks the wound closed. But you are sated for the evening. And boom, well, to one hunger. And God, it feels good to feed off of somebody that you personally hunted for the first time in months. And Ava, I'm assuming, do you spend the night in this room or do you go to the other room and leave him alone?
I would go in the other room and leave him alone because he'll wake up and I'll be there. So
Sure.
Yeah,
Actually, out of
and
curiosity, do you have Ollie like remove him? How do you, like, what do you plan on doing with him come morning? Like, how do you plan on getting him out of there? Because he's gonna wake up in the morning and he's gonna be in a room alone. It looks like a prison cell, locked, no longer entranced. No,
I won't be able to
lingering
help
kiss
him.
gone.
Ollie go in and be like, "What did you do to my sister?"
Ollie will be sleeping.
Yeah, well, I'll be sleeping. I was gonna have Grant help.
Yeah, you could have Grant. You could just tell Ollie to have Grant like kick him out.
Poor Grant. I was going to, Ollie, if that's all right. We have to take care of this guy in the morning. Do you think maybe Grant could help?
Okay, look, I don't mind. I don't mind helping, being wingman, big brother here, but you gotta finish what you started. You gotta do this one on your own. That's part of the hunt. You gotta do it.
All right. Fine.
And
Fine.
don't drag Grant into this. It's already messy enough, and he's having a hard time figuring this shit out.
Poor Grant,
Look,
dude.
Ollie, this was just business, okay? I needed to
Doesn't look
take
that
care
way.
of something. Oh, all right. You're right. All right. Fine. I'll take care of it myself.
How do you plan on taking care of
I
it?
don't know how I'm going to take care of it myself.
So here's your options. You have like 20 minutes left in the night
Yeah.
before you need to at least be in a place where sunlight can't hit you.
Yes.
You could just carry him out and put him on the phone.
That's-
Drop him on the
I
front
was-
doorstep,
I
man.
I was
you could
thinking of just like taking him out.
Okay,
And,
so
yeah.
Ollie, here's the scene I see. Ollie, you're cleaning up and finishing the last bits up front as Grant has already left. Ava's like, fine, I'll take care of it myself, I guess. And she goes in the back room. Not a minute later, you hear slow, heavy footsteps as the door opens, and over her shoulder, she struggles as she carries this big bouncer over her Toreador shoulders, dragging part of his feet on the ground. And she's like, yeah. And she just drags him past you. I imagine Ollie just
I'm
watches
forward and get the
wordlessly.
No, I'll move forward and get the door for her.
Okay, yeah, Ollie gets out,
Thanks.
walks to the
Thanks,
front
Ollie.
door, opens the door. Ava, thanks, and walks out the door with this guy. Where do you plop him? Like right on the stairs? So, Ollie, you watch. She gets out on the stairs. She's like, pops him there. She's like, all right. And she goes to walk back in.
No. There's a bench. There's a bench right there.
Like
Fine.
across the street.
God.
It's like 30 feet.
It's graffitied on. It's
Ava rolls
broken
her
wood
eyes.
splintered. So Ava, once again, up and over across the street. Nobody's really around. It's still too early. And you put him on this broken bench. And there you leave him. Walk back into the bar. Ollie, do you keep the door open for her to come back? Yep. And then you walk
Thanks,
back
Ollie.
in and make your way into the back room.
Hey, proud of you.
You're proud of me, really?
Yeah. Seriously, look at how far you came. Right? You did all of that on your own. I mean, I had to get the door, but whatever.
You're right. You know what? I didn't need anybody to take care of the dirty business. I could do it myself. You're right.
That's right.
But glad that's done. Business taken care of.
Quick question for you, Bob, that I'm going to ask you in Discord real quick.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Wait. Nope, never mind. I already answered my own question.
By the way, here's that thing as well, Mathis. I just found that out.
Big brother
Ooh.
Ollie. Oh, that was so funny.
Okay, yeah, that's totally fine. The night will dissipate from there. Ava will leave early in the next evening to take care of things that she has to take care of, but the camera's going to linger in Ollie's bar for a little while. Dakota, you've been spending a few nights, like you said, desperately scanning the police radio, hoping up
Two
against...
things.
Yep.
My contact.
Yep.
Signing of Bruin.
The police radio specifically, you spend a few nights desperately listening, and maybe not to your surprise, you've only had it for 3 or so nights. You hear nothing of Rowan, but you've been waiting to hear back from a contact of yours. And you're using the police contact who has moved up in the ranks, or at least you hope he's moved up in the ranks since everything's happened. You haven't heard from him in quite some time. However, tonight, there's a knock at your boat.
Also, I need to know what the graffiti says.
I know. Oh, I know.
I haven't checked it in 2 nights.
It's been a busy few nights. We're getting there.
Okay. All right. Okay. I need.
There's a gentle, like you can hear it echoing throughout your boat. There's just a gentle.
Do the dogs bark?
They get one snaps up to attention and growls, but they know not to bark unless you were like, go.
Okay. All right. I'll hush him up and I guess go topside.
Okay. You make your way topside, and as you peer over, there is a familiar face. Though he's looking at your boat with a raised eyebrow, he's clean shaven. His hair is still kind of a mess, but he's wearing khaki pants and a t-shirt instead of ripped jeans and like a tank top. There he is. Your fancy looking police contact, but he's not looking up. He's looking at your boat, kind of disgruntled.
You didn't have to dress up for me.
You look back up. Fuck off, ain't for you. You got like a new gang symbol or some shit.
What?
He just kind of gestures at your boat.
I guess I'll lean over the edge. Can I see it from this angle? Do I have
You
to get
can
down?
kind of. You can see something is spray painted on your boat, but because it's like you're at like a horizontal angle, it's really hard to tell what it is. But there's certainly like dripping, like dried, but you can see the dripping streaks of spray paint. Those
you come
spray
all
paint
the way
cans on the
here
floor.
to talk about my boat?
No, fuck no. I'm just asking you. No.
And get to the point.
Can we get the hell away from here?
What's wrong with here?
A missing persons case.
Do you want to take a ride on my boat?
Sure. And he's just like, all right, whatever.
Hi.
And he,
I throw the ladder down and let him crawl up.
yeah, he very slowly climbs up on this thing. He's like, I never took it for a kid to have like a boat like this. I mean, clearly you don't know what the fuck you're doing because it's a fucking mess. As in, not
Hey,
well kept up.
I just cleaned. Sit. I'm gonna take the boat out.
Yeah. So you turn the engine on.
Yeah.
And eventually you kind of putter out to the middle of the lake.
I stop.
He looks around. This is quite a... the Russians really liked it out here for a while.
Are you gonna tell me why you're really here?
There's a few reasons I'm really here.
Great, we've got time.
One, I want to thank
to the
you.
dark emptiness.
Yeah. He's like, one, I want to thank you. Things are going well for us. And this red pole thing that you brought up,
Mhm.
how's that going?
Well, considering the fact I was waiting on information from you.
Well, it's your lucky night. I know where he's been hiding.
Really?
Your dots in police influence are what? 1?
2. I believe he's my 2 dot. Hang on, let me double check that. Police
I'll make
contact
sure
is
you're-
my 2 dot.
Okay. From the a 2 dot, you just so you understand the kind of influence he has.
Mhm.
No longer is he a simple beat cop. With 2 in the influence, he has sway over a handful of cops under him. So when you use him, whatever way you can, you actually have a little bit more pull now. You're not just
Okay.
dealing with a beat cop on the thing. Under him is a few, and just so you understand the mechanics of what the 2 do.
Okay.
3 is much more widespread coverage of a police force, kind of like a precinct. 2 is like a handful of men in a precinct.
All right,
But
cool.
he looks to you, he's like, but there's renewed interest in the Red Pole case. For one reason or another. He just looks to you and I've been put on it.
Good.
Like I said, I think I told you last time, dude hasn't left Chinatown in over a year.
But
He
do you
hasn't
know
really
which
had a
building
job.
He is in?
Whoa, it's not a specific building. I don't know that specific.
Okay.
He's not that easy to find. If he
Okay.
was, I feel like we would have had him by now. But if you want to do your dirty work, so to speak, and you want to take care of a few things that might happen when I'm not paying attention. As far as I've heard, he's hanging out in the lower southeast side of Chinatown. a 5 city block square over there, somewhere within there. The cocaine business that he's been running has been cut dry, obviously, by the Russians. And human trafficking business has been more his thing.
Yeah, but you said he's not had a job in a while.
Well, he hasn't left Chinatown in a while. You can run the logistics of human trafficking behind the safety of buildings rather well. He doesn't really have to venture out. Less man-to-man confrontation and trade when it comes to human trafficking. Less people want to put a human on a table and money and say, all right, let's make the deal. It's a little bit more private than that. But he's been... This is all rumor, so I can't guarantee this is truth, all right? But apparently, from my understanding, he's been hitting the families of the Russians and supplying some of his human trafficking needs with them. Bit of a revenge plot, I think.
People don't pop out of thin air. Who's moving them to him?
I don't know. I don't even know if there's somebody working within the Russians to help him, or if they're hitting them or when they're out and just using I don't know. I simply have been able to figure out. I've only simply been able to find the information as to where.
We have a list of missings.
I mean, there's always a list of missings. This is fucking Chicago. People go missing constantly.
God, you're a fucking cop. You don't know anything more than I do.
Do you know how being a cop works?
Kind of.
I like. There's. I don't get to like. I don't have like the ceremony, and then all of a sudden it's like, here's the city secrets. That shit. I gotta suck the right dick and get pounded by the right officers to know that kind of information.
It could be worse.
I don't want none of that shit. Listen, I appreciate everything you've done for me, even if it's sketchy at best.
All right.
And we've had a nice partnership, and I'd like to continue that partnership. I'm giving you what I can.
Relax. You're making me nervous.
Well, I'm making myself nervous coming out here.
Good.
Nobody knows I talk to you. Let's keep it that way.
I look around at the vast emptiness. I'm like, what do you think I'm trying to do, you dumbass? I whistle, and the boys kind of run up from
the dogs
bottom.
run up, and you see his eyes get a little wide and nervous.
I just want a bit.
You know, if I go missing tonight, people are gonna come looking.
I look at them. I'm like, they've been fed.
We're still in the middle of a lake.
You can swim, right?
Not if you kill me first.
So small-minded.
If
Listen, I
don't
wanted
know.
you dead, I would have killed you already.
I know about I know enough about how you all operate. And that's all I need. I don't want details.
Well, you can't judge a book by its cover, friend, and all of us, the you all, as you so put it, we're not all the fucking same.
Okay. I believe you.
I'm gonna ask you to just tone it down a notch.
Okay. Well,
And listen, I need to be able to get in there and get him out. That was the deal. I want to lay hands on the motherfucker. And I can't do that if you can't give me a little bit more information. So
if I can figure out,
you gotta play cop, I get it. Hide behind a badge and your good fucking deeds.
But you don't.
Precisely. Tell me who I can alleviate this information from.
Well, like I said, I know they're hitting Russian families, taking them for their own human trafficking nonsense. If you can figure out how they're getting them, whether they're getting information, whether they're making a trade with a mole on the inside, or they're just being a brute force about it, I can then take that and move forward. And maybe you can stop them from doing something to innocent people. If you want to call the families of Russian mafia innocent. You do me this solid and I can run further.
Okay, you said these families.
Yeah.
Of the Russians.
Yeah.
I need to know who they are. Do you got a list?
I can get you a list of the last 2.
Fine. Anything would be helpful. Name, information, and address, please.
Give me a drop-off point. I prefer not to drop it off. And the place where a missing persons case is still operating.
Talking.
By the way,
stop
do you
talking.
know anything
I'm thinking.
That
Rem-
do I
Drop
want to
off.
know?
Drop off point.
Do I need to make this go away?
I need you to stop talking for a second. Drop off
Drop-off point.
point. Library. Envelope. My name on the outside. Sealed, taped. I give him the address of the library.
Sealed with a kiss, I hope.
Next. I don't know what missing persons case you speak of.
I'm not asking for a fucking admission. I can't fucking arrest you. I understand that shit. So I'm asking if I need to make it go away. It ain't gonna go away very quickly. All right, how about this? Leave it in the note.
Can't even get information. How can I trust you can make something go away?
What? I just told you where he is in a general vicinity.
Within a 5-block radius.
Listen, that's...
I can smell farther than a 5-block radius.
Do you know what he smells like?
I need you to possibly swim back to shore.
First of all, that's incredibly rude. Listen, if I swim back to shore, people gonna ask why I was wet. Might have to tell them I was looking for a missing person in the lake that's been missing for a few nights.
You think anybody's gonna believe that? From a cop?
Whether they believe me or not,
They
I can get a few
probably
men out
fell
here.
off a bridge.
They probably did. But you know what? To be
Arduous.
safe, in case he returns, maybe I'll station a couple of officers here just to keep an eye on the area.
Great.
Right. So am I swimming?
Don't scare me. So I'm gonna make it kind of clear for you. I need this information for a personal reason. As for the missing man, I might be able to help wrap that up in this whole Red Pole thing I'm helping you with.
It would be quite a coincidence that human trafficking is kicking up in the area, and somebody near Northerly Isle, which is not too far from Chinatown, might have gotten swept up in the whole thing.
What a sad, sorry case.
Yeah.
Let's say his badge were to show up on Red Pole's body, person, area.
He had a badge. Oh, security, of course.
I actually toss it over to him.
you toss it.
Thumps him in the chest. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
it hits him. It clatters onto the deck of the ship. He watches it. And then he very eerily peers over the edge of the boat into the water and then kind of just like picks the badge up. Actually, no, he reaches into his pocket, grabs a glove, slides the glove on, picks the badge up, and has another, and it reaches in for a plastic bag and plops it in and seals it.
Wonderful. I like you. I like you. And as long as I continue to like you, this is a beneficial friendship, yeah?
Oh, I ain't saying it ain't.
Great. Sit down. We're going back to shore.
He exercised a sigh of relief. I really, for a fucking moment, I thought I was swimming.
Boys, watch him.
He just gets tense as the dogs get up and just within 6 inches of him on each side, just sit, ears up, watch. And you drive him back to shore.
Yep.
Do you tell the dogs to not watch him eventually? Or do you make
No,
him
I'm
one
gonna
have to
make I'm
watch?
gonna
Yeah.
make him the whole ride back to shore has to sit
Yep.
there with the dogs watching
And
him.
he does, and he says no words. He stays very quiet and very tense the entire way. He will eventually, as you hit shore, when you do get to shore, I'm genuinely curious. Do you tell the dogs to stand down, or do you make him
Yeah,
walk past?
I'm like, good boys. Let him pass.
One gets up, the dumb one that loves you, and just runs over to you. I was like, you like looking for pats for doing a good job?
Yep.
And the other one just
It's
kind of
probably Clyde.
stands down, and yeah, Jim just kind of gets up and walks off, angry. Well, he gets up and he's like, well, good seeing you, Dakota. He just waves and cuts himself off and leaves. He's
Good.
of
Smart. He's
words.
learning. He's learning.
He is learning.
I probably follow him down because I didn't see what the fuck is on the outside of my boat.
You did not. No, you did not. So you follow him down, and you see him off. He eventually gets into his car and drives away. He's not in a police vehicle. He's in his own private vehicle. But you turn, and you stare. You look at the sprayed symbol. Can I get a roll from you, please, to
damn.
recognize this thing with your specialty.
Yeah, okay. So that adds what, 1 or 2? The
I
special
think,
one?
well, specialty is just a 1.
So it's 1 on, I believe that's streetwise intelligence, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. A 3.
Holy shit.
It's not a symbol you've seen often, but you recognize it. It is, of course, a symbol of a clan. Well, clan depending on who you ask.
Fuck.
Let me describe it in detail for you very quickly. I'll make sure I get the details right. No, 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 no. No. Okay. It is simply a smile. Similar to what you had, but there's a difference. No teeth are missing. Nothing's been blacked out. But 2 teeth on the front almost look like they're supposed to form fangs. They jut out a little further. There's even a curvature to them, but they are blunted. Thin blood.
Great. On the side of my boat, there's nothing else, just a symbol.
Just the symbol of what you believe to be thin blood. No spray paint cans around. Nothing more.
I need to scrub this off my boat.
And it'll take you time, but you will.
I
and you can.
know. I go get the bucket.
You could go get Ollie for a cleaning partner again.
I know. I could do that, but I know he's busy with real things. But I think of
Like
Ollie
making
as
fun
I
of Ava.
scrub. Yeah, right. As I scrub this symbol off the boat.
And it takes you like 2 hours to get this thing fully, at least off of it. So if you look at the boat, nothing is at least recognizable. What is Dakota's thoughts? What's going through her mind?
She's actually kind of sad she's taking this art away. I don't know that it's probably the greatest thing in the world, but like having to scrub it off. Thin blood. Well, I know the other mouth was tied to the thin blood situation.
Just a reminder for those who might be late, the dogs did see the person spray painting. The person simply looked up and the dogs just went back to sleep.
Oh yeah, I look at the boys. I'm scrubbing this thing and I put a sponge in a bucket and then I turn and I look at them and I'm like, wait a second. You didn't tell me anybody was here.
Clyde runs over and he's wagging.
No, I back up. No.
You like yelling at him essentially.
Yeah,
sternly.
I'm like, what? You're supposed to.
He
let me
sits, his
know
ears
when-
back, his tail goes between his legs.
I point at the spot where there used to be a mouth on my boat.
They look. Then Clyde looks back at you. He actually starts wagging like nervously, or like, "Are we happy again?" He's not sure.
Do you? God, they're cute. Do you? Do you know who did this?
What? Clyde
I
continues.
look at both. It doesn't matter. I talk to them like they're people.
Yeah, exactly.
You know who did this? Why didn't you tell me?
Jim is just staring at you.
Do you know which way they went?
They're just wagging their tail now.
Fuck. Okay, fine. The next time somebody comes and spray paints the boat, you two let me know, yeah?
And Clyde is back to being excited. He can't tell if you're upset or not, so he just runs over.
I had a cat before the two of you.
You hear meow as you look up at the boat, and sitting up perched just up there is Princess Bella, watching with disdain.
So just
This is what happens when you lose your whole coterie and you just surround yourself with animals.
With animals, yeah. This is where Dakota descends into madness.
If we TPK and it's just Dakota left, she's just going to get 3 different animals, call them Alexander, Raven, and Ollie.
Yeah,
I just look at them and I was like, don't make me send you back to Princess Bella and not that one. The cat.
The cat just jumps down and disappears from sight when you point back up.
So, boys, do your job. If there's somebody here, let me fucking know, yeah?
You say there's somebody here, and Clyde snaps up and starts growling around.
No,
Meanwhile,
not
Jim
here
just walks.
now.
I sling the bucket
That's
back
fine.
on the boat, and I was like, 2 of you, stay. I'm going out.
And they stay. Where does Dakota stay on the boat for the night too?
Oh no! If there's still time out, I'm going
Oh.
out.
Where do you plan on to go?
I'm gonna go.
You have some information.
I'm a little too angry. I've got information. I'm a little too angry to go deal with possibly this thin blood person that just graffitied my fucking boat.
Yep.
That also my dogs liked. I'm going to peel a label off of something. I'm going to Ollie's.
All right, so you go to Ollie's bar. You walk in early on, only a couple hours after you've been woken up. You can actually, as you walk in, you see Grant coming out from the kitchen. You can see the silhouette of Ollie cooking back there. And Grant sees you and he's like, Smirnoff? And you say, yep. He's like, gotcha. And he actually walks over, pops a Smirnoff in front of your stool. And he's like, and a friend. And so, and he smiles at you for a minute before he walks back into the kitchen. Ollie, boss.
Yo, what's
Dakota's peeling labels.
up? Right.
I'll cook. And he just gets and takes your spot, sends you out front. Dakota, you just start peeling your label before you see with an apron coming off. He's like taking off the apron. Ollie.
Hey, what's kicking, Red?
I have wrangled up some info.
Well, it's been a quiet couple of nights. Besides some mild heckling, I'm getting kind of bored.
Who heckled you?
No. The other way around.
Well, you, Ollie, have plans for this evening as well. There's something you want to take care of. And honestly, the best place to talk is places that are closed and away from people in the bar.
Yeah, I need to shake some of these dregs. You want to go with me somewhere?
Yeah. Yes.
I slide a full Smirnoff bottle down the bar into Grant's hand.
You just slide it down to the person that's like 2 seats down from you. It's just some dude just kind of grabs it. He smiles. He's missing a few teeth and just kind of gives you a cheers and chugs it. He does not even stop. The two of you walk out the front door and you can start making your way. Well, Ollie will lead you. You'll be going for a bit of a walk. Do you hit the sewers, I'm assuming, because it's faster and that kind of thing. And it's way more private if you hit the sewers. So he leads you to the nearby manhole cover and the two of you begin to walk in a very familiar sewer system.
Are we going somewhere specific?
Yeah, I've got some place in mind. But you tell me yours, I'll tell you mine.
Okay. I scared up some information out of a contact of mine attached to the police. They've had a past interest in a similar man named Red Pole. I've got about a 5-block radius where they think he's holed up. He's using a series of buildings to move people. This is why we don't see him. Sounds to me like he's under them if he's moving them not street side.
Okay.
More importantly, Red Pole's built a mutual enemy as well by taking from the Russians.
Well, that's a little spicy. What's he taking from him?
The only thing he deals in now, people.
No shit.
So the dumbass has gone and taken the pretties from the Russians, and they have a bone to pick, as you might imagine. I'm trying to get a list of names of the families.
Okay. Yo, this could really work out in our favor here.
Agreed.
The people that I'm working with who put me on this, they're a third party. They don't operate with the Russians, and they don't operate with the Triad.
Well, my police cop seems to have a hankering that maybe there's somebody on the inside of the Russians that's letting Red Pole's men in. I think we should set a trap. We've got a pretty of our own, and she is vicious. If we can figure out who the contact is in the league, we could use Ava.
All right. I like that.
All she needs to do is get him out of the building when she's in. Figure it out. Snap him, grab him, take his finger for our purposes, and then for all of this information, I have a larger debt to pay.
Problematically, he's still in Chinatown, right?
The southeastern end, yes.
How far out is that from, from the draw? The thing that puts pressure on us.
I don't know yet. I haven't put eyes on the place. I just learned this tonight.
Well, I mean, it's a good idea. And I am actually for putting Ava to work. She did her own hunt, and she cleaned up after herself for a change.
Well, we've all had to step the fuck up, so
Yeah,
good for her. I'm proud of her.
I said
Maybe.
the same thing, but she did try
Was
to...
that who you were heckling?
Yes, Ava. Yeah, she tried to
Great.
drop him off on the steps, right out in front of the bar. Like, no, just put him... There's a bench across the street. She wasn't super happy about it, but the guy was nearly pissing his pants when he saw me. I had to play the brother. That was weird.
Well, he sounds like a dumbass, so maybe he deserved it.
Definite Chad.
She has
What
taste
is-
in specific men.
What is a Chad? I'm like that. That reference eludes me.
Well, there was one person that was called Chad that she fed on in season 1. The
That's true.
college bro. The college
The
bro.
college
Oh,
she-
that's
bro.
right.
Yeah,
I sold
Chad.
him.
And his name was Chad.
I sold him coriander or something because weed.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Well, that's good news. And while I'm normally not for playing greedy, you gotta play a risky game if you want to get ahead. So we might be able to make some plays and garner some favor with the Russians. That's more up my alley. I play to that playing field, if you will.
I don't really talk to people. I'm really good. I don't know. I just think that we should use Ava as bait.
Hey,
She's perfect.
I understand that lingo, and sounds good to me. We just gotta be able to see if she's down for it.
I think she will be. She's got coming around. She moved her own body, so seems like
I
plus
mean,
plus.
across the street, yeah, that's a start. We'll start there. That's fine.
As the conversation kind of trickles into the end, it's almost like, oh, here, we're actually here. You can look at there's a nearby map that kind of maps out where you are, but you're not close enough to really see it. And so Ollie just kind of reaches up and pushes across the manhole cover. You listen, make sure nobody's walking by before you hoist yourself out, and Dakota follows suit. As Dakota, you pull yourself out and you kind of take a look at the surroundings, and Ollie bends over to slide the manhole cover shut. You realize you are about 40 feet from the Chicago Zoo.
You ever been to the zoo?
No. I think animals in cages probably kind of makes me nervous. Are we
Maybe
gonna
so.
free the animals?
One step at a time. All right, one step at a time. But there's a bit of a metaphor there. You think about it. They're stuck here. We're stuck in Chicago. I just thought this would be interesting, and there's something I want to check in on.
Okay.
How do you plan to, the both of you getting into the zoo is not like we don't have to there's no challenge here. There's for some basic roles that I'd like to have is there is security guards that wander at night, but there's not too many of them. So a simple out of curiosity, Ollie, are you going to go invisible, silent? Dakota's there, so going invisible would make it difficult for her to follow. But silent steps is easy.
I think I want to see if there's an immediate method that I can sort of bring down the power temporarily. Just because I know that they've got cameras all over the place.
Absolutely. So you want to, that there's like a security office and all that stuff where power and all that is. How how brutish is Ollie looking to bring down the power? Because you could do something as simple as he did last time, where you just knock out a power line, and that'll put you on a timer likely because people are going to show up.
I don't want to take down the entire line, but if I can take down or just do something to sort of gum it up, maybe bring down like a line or something like that.
Sure. So, Ollie, you look around and give me a wits awareness check, please.
Yeah. I can do that. Awareness. Wits. Bam. 2 successes.
With 2 successes, you're silently moving. You find a power box not too far by. You kind of swing it open and bring your hand up, clench your fist for a moment before just kind of jamming it in there and ripping everything out. And the security cameras and the lights of the nearby area just...
Okay. I reach back and won't say anything. I'll just kind of extend my hand. And
Dakota will grab it.
Okay.
She'll take your hand and she'll just follow quietly. Dex stealth check, please, as you make your way. And because there's still people wandering around, and especially as the power goes out, the security guards of the ones that are there are going to be a little alerted as they look around to figure out what the hell's going on.
Dex stealth. There it is. Dex. I'm going to reroll. I'll use my willpower.
Okay.
Well, I'm trying to.
Roll. I heard it.
No
successes. And maybe it's just because you're nervous and you're not able to go invisible like you usually do, and that just is out of practice for you. While you move quietly, as you pop over the fence with Dakota nearby in hand, you actually pop over a wall. When you land, you didn't realize there before, but as you hit, there is actually a security guard whose back is to you. But he's maybe 30 feet away, and he spins around as he comes out of the shadows and into the light. And just as you land, he sees you, and it's as an encounter begins. What do you want to do from here?
Oh, he definitely sees me though.
Oh yeah, you failed your stealth check. He sees you.
Okay.
It's tough when you can't go invisible.
Yeah, something I've done recently. I'm gonna cross the bound real quick. I want to savage leap, and hit him around the neck and black him out.
You want to leap behind him and then just grapple him?
I mean, even if it means that I'm like catching him up under the neck and...
No, that's fine. No, I'm just trying to get the picture in my mind, like from where you are, you're just instinctively you leap.
If he sees me, there's not really much getting behind him. I'm gonna go right into that.
Yep, that's fine. So Dakota, as you both land, you see he faces and turns both of you. Ollie just reacts instinctively as the security guard has recognition seeing 2 people. Ollie he crouches just for half a second, and then you can hear his clothing whipping in the wind as he just soars through this quiet night sky. He lands right behind the dude. Strength brawl.
Yeah.
We don't have to make this a huge combat. It's 1 mortal. There's nobody else around. He reaches for his radio, but beforehand, you throw your arm under him, and you land with a crouch. Just because, to absorb the shock, and he lands dead silent, Dakota. He has nothing. He's not making noise. And then as he crouches, he lands with his arms out wide. He locks his left arm under his chin and locks it with his right arm. And all he does is stand. And as he stands, this guy gets pulled up off the ground. His toes are kicking. And Ollie just kind of holds him there very patiently and even steps off to the side into the shadow to get out of the light. And you can hear, because you have really good hearing, like gasping and fighting, like the kicking of clothes. But eventually you hear that all dissipate. And as you make your way over, you just you arrive as Ollie kind of like finishes choking him out and then gently laying him on the ground. He's not dead, of course. You're not trying to kill him.
Yeah, I'm going to drag him over to like the side of a building.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a gift shop is like right over there, and there's a little tiny space between the gift shop and the bathrooms that's like dark and not seen. You could throw him back there.
In fact, does he have keys on him by chance?
Yeah, absolutely he does.
Oh, nice.
He's a security guard. You yank the keys off of him.
Yeah, a radio too, just in case there's more of them. Like,
Well, you definitely hear radio chatter, but you don't hear anybody being like, huh, Tim?
Or checking in
Tim?
with them.
Like, you look down on his name tag, it says Tim. You don't see anybody. You don't hear anybody calling for Tim.
A bit of a surprise, but swiftly dealt with. It'll be fine.
Show off. I whisper.
And now Ollie is going to go through the zoo, and Dakota's going to follow. And occasionally there are security guards that you will come across of, though you're a little bit more aware of it. But Ollie, what you're looking for is not outdoors right now, inside at nighttime. But do you just walk over to the enclosure and then eventually make your way to the back where the employees only door lies? There's a camera there that is down. There are no lights. There shouldn't have been any lights there anyway, but he still saw you because you failed. But there's a security door there, and while you normally could just easily just kind of shoulder into it, you hold the keys up, you try each key until you're able to get in, you pop the lock, and you open. And if anybody's ever been behind a zoo in any type of enclosure, there's a giant area where they're usually allowed to sleep. They usually have things to play on and like cubbies to hide, and especially zoos that are like very active in making sure wildlife is being preserved and endangered species. But what you're brought into, Dakota, is the enclosure specifically of the black jaguar.
Is it just there sleeping? Did we
You're
walk
not
into its space?
When you walk in, you see the giant enclosure, but there's still a double gate that you have to get through to get into it. But you can see it on the other side, just curled up, sleeping.
Ollie, what are we doing?
I wanted to find something trapped out of its element. Still capable of hiding and being efficient.
Above the enclosure, there's actually a name tag of the jaguar's name, and it is actually Kianta.
Kianta.
A little bit different than what you were told was back here.
I found a lot of similarities in myself, especially, well, given what I am now. And I've seen how you were with Jim and Clyde. And I know that as a Nosferatu, particularly Snitch, he showed me how powerful allies can be. And I can't be everywhere and see everything or protect myself all the time. And yeah, I want to give them some sort of freedom.
You want to wake it up and be its friend?
Yeah, I think I do. I read a while ago that they brought in another jag named Kianto, but maybe he had a girl? A boy? I don't know.
Could be his daughter.
Yeah. Okay.
But I don't know how to do this. And I know that you have more understanding, more skill with things, creatures like this.
Oh, you want me? Oh. Okay. I've never talked to a cat that big before.
You have feral whispers, don't you?
Hey. I do. No, I don't.
And you can't communicate with this thing.
I can't talk to it. I only have bond familius, because I only have animalism 1.
Because your cat is your familius, right?
Yep, and then I have animal kin as well.
Yep.
So I can't talk to it directly.
I've not exactly told anyone, and I don't want to tell anyone about it just yet, but I can. And I've been practicing with, well, not the brightest, but pigeons, and you would be not very surprised with the lack of things they have to say.
Talking to pigeons.
Yeah, well, look, we practice this where we can, all right? I know this is a big step up, but I just...
Well, you're more qualified to talk to the kitty than I am.
I just kind of wanted you to be here for this.
I won't go anywhere.
So, much like dueling, bonding a familius is a similar thing. It requires 3 nights of drinking your blood. And this is simply the first night of the arrival here. And it sleeps quietly. It has not noticed your entrance. You really don't give off any heat. You don't make any sounds, any steps. So what does Ollie do, looking as Dakota kind of finishes that sentence, and Ollie now is left with the choice?
Is it in like a? I'm assuming it's not cage because it's already in some sort of housing.
It's in like it's got a double door between where you are and its housing where you have to walk into. It's like it's an interior, so you'd have to walk through a gate.
I'm gonna whistle.
And you whistle, and its ears snap up and its eyes open as it looks in the direction, and its eyes clearly fixate as its pupils dilate to take in as much light in this dark room as possible. And you see it very slowly stand. Its tail curls, and it stays near the back wall as its giant paws very slowly begin to pace near the wall where it just woke up.
I say, talk to it, Ollie.
I'm gonna rouse.
Yep.
Hunger up
Get
to
hungry. 2. Do you? I'm sorry. What'd you say?
Hunger up to 2.
And what do you do? Are you doing?
I'm gonna wait for it to take steps. I'm gonna kind of follow the eyes.
You lock eyes with it, and it locks eyes with you. And clearly, it sees you as the bigger threat, as it does not let you go. But gangrels hold a particular threat, it just hasn't noticed. And it begins to pace. Like I said, it walks the wall, but it never goes further than the halfway mark before it turns back. It just watches and paces.
Talk to it, Ollie.
I'll say its name. I'll say Hyanta.
It slows its walk. It doesn't stop, but it slows. Its ears are up.
Is that the name?
The rouse check was for, I'm assuming...
Feral Whispers.
Yep. Just want to make sure. Can I... So, yeah, continue. You just simply speak its name. So what else do you do?
I follow it with. That's the name they gave you. Did you go by something else before?
Speaking a question out loud to the animal, merely you hear it snarl. But it doesn't speak words back. Not that Ollie's convinced that it can't. But he's not sure if it's because it chooses not to or not. There's this feeling that emanates off of the jaguar as you lock eyes with it and speak to it. It's a connection, like speaking to another person. A little bit simpler, though. You know it understands you. You can see the recognition in its face.
You've been here your whole life, haven't you? Stuck behind cage, stone and glass walls. I'm stuck too. But I want to take you from here. I want to put you in the jungle.
Can I get a charisma plus animalism roll from you?
Yeah. So.
It'd be animalism 2.
Uh-huh. None. Modifier 2. 1.
Success is a success. Again, it does not return any words to you or impart any feeling beyond recognition. But it does begin to slowly, and I do mean slowly, make its way toward you, crossing the middle of the path, not walking the walls any longer. Its head lowered, its eyes on you, and its ears back. But its bright yellow eyes are very much locked on you.
Jags are big cats.
Yeah.
I'm, in case of like dominance display, I'm gonna potence for the obvious reasons.
Of course. Okay, your hunger does not go up. It eventually gets up to the door. Maybe puts about a foot between it and the door. And it sits. Its head's still lowered. Dakota has not paid attention to you this entire time. It is very focused on Oliver.
Come out.
Do you open the door?
Sure, I'll crack the door.
You crack the door.
Yeah.
And then you speak for it to come out. That's a manipulation animalism as you give it a command.
Mm-hmm. Two successes.
As you open the door, and we see Ollie use the keys, and the metal door creaks as the bars pass by, and you take another step back as it sits and watches you, and locking eyes with it again, come out. There's a beat. Dakota, for a minute, you don't think it's gonna listen, but eventually it slowly raises itself, and it begins to slowly walk out the door. It walks right up to Oliver, still looking, and then it sits. If you wish to ghoul this thing and take this opportunity to, on the first night, it is a charisma animal ken check to convince it to take a drink.
Okay. I don't have very many points in animal kin. This is gonna be rough.
Yeah, it is the Bond Famulus power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I ask again. What was your name?
It just growls, and under its growl, only you, Ollie, can barely pick up on this. None.
Did it say
None.
none?
No,
Okay.
I didn't have one.
Didn't have one as far as you know. Ward's name was None. You don't know.
Do you want to go to my jungle? Or do you want to stay here where you're caged and watched? You have no freedoms.
It doesn't really give an answer to that. Certainly there's an intelligence behind this animal, but you're not sure if it really understood what you were asking it. You keep in mind, this thing hasn't seen a jungle. This is all it knows. It was born here.
While I'm saying this, with Feral Whispers, does Dakota make sense of it? Am I still like speaking English? This thing also understands me?
It just understands you. You are speaking actual words to it. You basically, the communication technically comes from the blood, but there's an understanding there. You're
Okay.
imparting your knowledge. You're speaking what you want to say, and the knowledge is being imparted supernaturally.
I'll look back to Dakota.
Dakota doesn't know. When it growls, you don't hear anything. You don't hear words. You just hear it being a cat. But it is clearly listening.
She has no name.
I mean, technically I was given a name at birth. I decided to choose my own name.
Then I'll look down to the Jag.
Mhm.
Take your name. What would you call you?
It continues to look at you before responding. No, nothing.
In time. I'm gonna go with you said it was what? Charisma Animal Kin?
It is charisma animal ken. Yes.
Okay. Can I rouse for this?
You get a +1 if you rouse.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Go ahead. Okay. Hunger doesn't go up.
Perfect.
Add a +1 to your roll.
Animal Kin. Charisma. 1. Oh
Nice.
wow.
Nice.
Nice.
Very nice. Very nice.
Ollie, how do you go about offering your vitae to this Draguar?
And that's a tricky situation.
Dakota
I-
slides you a bowl. A metal one.
That was probably lying on the floor nearby. Yeah, you just kind of kick it over, and you just like shink, and it kind of hits your boot.
Trust me,
I'll-
you can't drink directly from your arm.
Right. That
I
makes
mean,
sense.
it kind of can.
I mean, it can.
Yeah.
But without losing the arm,
Well, that's
it's a
all.
big
you
old
know.
mouth. You know what I'm
He
saying?
can grow it back again. It's fine.
Then
Yep.
I'll do the necessary laceration to.
Absolutely. So you open a gash on your body for Vitae to very slowly eep out and spill, and there isn't really words spoken. You look to the jaguar and back into its eyes, and it's less spoken word and more of imparting a feeling of trust and comfort that there's no danger here, and maybe even speak that there nothing can harm. This will only help, and whatever it is that Ollie does to nudge this thing to accept what you're offering, it does, and slowly it begins to lap up what blood is there. And it does so after it gets its few tastes rather ferociously. It stands up after it begins to drink and lick it up. And once it's all gone, it continues to try and get every last drop it can out of that bowl. You will need to return 2 more nights.
Yeah, Dakota probably says that. You're gonna have to come back.
Yeah, I kind of figured. That's sort of what I expected. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Hey, thanks for inviting me. This is really fun. That's a jaguar.
When I was alive, this probably would have... Being this close probably would have been scary, but it very little scares me anymore.
Animals are the best. They don't betray you. They try to manipulate you. Or lie to you.
Yeah. I look back to nothing, none, Kianta. I'll be back. You'll see me again soon.
It doesn't snarl at you in a way that's aggressive, more snarling as it kind of lifts its head up from the bowl and is licking its chops. It doesn't say anything to you, and it slowly walks back into its enclosure without a word.
I'm guessing that causes my hunger to rise.
Oh, yep. You're gonna drop. You have to rouse check. You don't have to drop a hunger. You actually just rouse check.
Oh, okay.
Animals are a little different.
Gotcha.
Because after you've made it, so you go up a hunger.
Yep.
After you've ghouled it, they require a negligible amount of blood to keep ghoul.
Gotcha.
They're easy to keep.
Okay, then I will usher us back. Trying to find Tim. I want to put all of the keys except for these few that are important.
You find him exactly where you left him.
I want to put it all back on.
You return the things that you wish to return to his body without any problems.
Yeah, I put it back on and hop up and offer my hand to kind of pull it over the wall.
Yeah, I'll pop up and over and
what's with the sudden interest in security measures?
I found out that I can hide from people, but I can't hide from cameras. So it may be a little messy, but taking down a single line off of a pole is a lot better than having to explain why Tim over there got blacked out, his keys and...
Oh, no, I mean the jaguar.
Oh, well. Well, I don't know. I feel like we're starting to play outside of our wheelhouse, and I can protect myself when I'm awake, but ghouls don't have to sleep the same.
I know.
What's to stop a bunch of fucks to run up into the bar and grease Grant and then, well, it would be bad.
I understand.
And I find some weird likeness with Kianta, or whatever she will eventually go by. And not really meant for here. And by we, I sort of mean well, jaguars and kindred. We're all caged in the city.
Yeah.
And honestly, I was just going to do this alone, but I think it would have been a whole lot messier if you weren't here. And she probably would have took my fucking arm.
She didn't look at me, Ollie. You should have more faith in yourself. But I appreciate the invite.
It's kind of weird because, jaguars got spots. But while she still does, she's just full black and all you can really see is the eyes. We've got the same eyes. And she still hides. And there's some weird parallels there because I'm still struggling with this mask. And I gotta get over it.
You are still wearing the old one mask.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's, things are easier with this mask on. Everybody's afraid of it. Everybody knows the butcher. But I suddenly put on the prosthetic and walk around in a suit. And then I'm just some rich bitch and I'm tall. That's about it.
You're not as rich as Crowley, so technically.
That's fair. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make you feel better, man.
Yeah. I'm trying to push past it. I feel like I'm at a wall,
I don't know. Do you like wearing the mask?
Not really.
Then why do you do it?
I don't know. That's the wall. I just don't fucking know. But I kind of feel like I'm ready to close that chapter. For a while. And maybe, being with you and looking at Keonta was, I don't know, help me find something, an answer or something. I don't know.
Dakota, not to interrupt, but merely to stir thought for a moment. This sounds so bizarrely familiar, doesn't it? For what feels like months, at least, Dakota has struggled with her own identity. She doesn't know who she is, and while she may not have a physical mask that she struggles with, having a title within the Camarilla is like wearing a mask in a weird way. And you've struggled silently with yourself so many times. Now the man you've seen as confident is telling you he's struggling with the same fucking things. I'm not looking for any particular reaction from you, simply to keep certain thoughts on the surface.
I'd say do what makes you happy, but that's just bullshit,
Yeah.
I think it comes down to fuck, what do I know? I don't know, Ollie. I think it comes down to looking at the people you actually give a fuck about and taking their word only, The rest of it's kind of bullshit. You don't owe anybody that mask. You don't know yourself that mask.
Well, tell me now then. What do you think?
What do you mean, what do I think?
You said, take it from only the people that you give a shit about, that matter. And that's you. Only you.
I don't like you because of your mask.
Well, I didn't think so. I thought it was other striking features.
I guess what I'm saying is I can genuinely say I don't have an opinion. Just want you to be happy, Ollie. And if the mask makes you happy, then I want you to wear it. If it doesn't, then fuck it.
Well, I don't know if it makes me happy, but there is some safety in it. That's for sure.
I understand that. Or at least empathize, I promise.
There was another purpose to this. I've been thinking real hard about how we're going to get into Chinatown. And Grant walked in, went all the way through it, didn't have a problem. But what if she went through? What if she took one of my Nas traits? Like, you know how I can, how I can like go invisible.
You're gonna have an invisible jaguar.
I don't know how it works, to be honest. But, like,
I smile a little bit at the idea because that's amazing.
Interesting. So, like, the communication thing, how does that work? Because let me tell you, I asked my dogs questions tonight, and they didn't fucking answer me. So, they're on the
let's just
shit list.
see. It's a case study at the moment. I'm really not sure. With pigeons, it was all about food, and it was brief, pretty much one word, and then they flew off because I got pissed off constantly.
They're pigeons.
There's not exactly a variety of animals that I can talk to. I mean, I could a rat, but you would probably guess that every one of them are with Snitch at all times.
Okay. I mean, it's a bitchin' idea. I mean, if you can be picked up on camera, so can she. Something to think about.
That's fair. But did you know that jaguars can practically climb anything?
I did not.
Found that out recently. Like I said, I've been thinking about this for a minute.
I kind of think Dakota kind of thinks it's cute you've been doing research on jaguars.
Also, like, I needed someone or something that's gonna give some pushback, right? Like, I know that like Jim and Clyde are the big boys, but I want his shit. I'm a big boy, so I need something that's gonna cause some pushback, you know?
Okay. I hear you. So you're gonna go through this. You'll be back tomorrow. And...
Yeah. But I gotta feed because well, if I keep having to use some of these things and continue to feed, it's gonna be bad.
Okay.
Could have fed on Tim.
Could have. Didn't. Tim didn't deserve it. He was meant for things.
Tim did deserve to feel it.
I mean, we don't really talk about you feeding much. Do you have a taste? Like...
I have some preferred, but I can always tell when it's getting bad, and like I'll kind of pull my hands up and you'll see the shake. It's the old shake that he still has.
Oh, I'll take his hand if it's shaking.
It's chill. I mean, I eat just about anything. So.
I mean, you could feed from Dakota.
Oh.
You would just trade hunger points, basically.
I guess that's true. I'm not.
If it's easier, basically, if it comes to the decision, it's like easier for Dakota to go and feed.
That's true. I have
only
always one hunger.
Transfer hunger from you to him, and then you would go feed.
That's true.
But that's I'm not saying you have to do that.
Is it well known that Ollie doesn't really like to feed on people?
Ollie made that pretty well known in season 1.
In season
one,
okay.
I imagine that character, like that, Ollie is Ollie. He hasn't changed too much. He has his own retinue of trusted folk that he usually feeds on when he needs it. But he's nowhere near them. It's late. And he can't guarantee he's going to get a hold of them every single night.
you could just feed on me. Sun's coming up.
I mean,
I already fed on a dude tonight. He was an asshole, but tasty, so.
well, I mean, it's, look, I'll be honest. I don't really know what all that implicates, or I mean, I know that you wouldn't. If you
I
didn't-
kind of, I'm like, it doesn't. I mean, I'm just offering. You don't have to, Ollie. It doesn't implicate anything. I mean, it was just offering, but we can go. We're at a zoo. We can go catch you anything you want.
No,
You ever drank from a monkey or a hippo?
I've never fed from a kindred.
It's nice.
Then I will.
Only question for Dakota before we move on. Do you plan on bonding him?
Oh, no.
Then nothing happens beyond feeding. You transfer however many dots of hunger that you would like to feed Ollie, however many Dakota's wishing to give you. You are at hunger 3, you said?
I do take one if I can.
I mean, yeah,
okay,
you
I was
can
gonna say
just-
you
you
could
do
take
one,
two.
so-
You could take two if you needed to. Because
You go down to
I feed on
2. I mean, you go
anybody.
down to 2, and Dakota, you go up to 2. So you're both balanced out of 2 hunger. But the camera will pull back as we see Ollie begin to bend over to feed. But we will not see the feeding happen as the camera will pan away. And as Ollie's about to bite and feed, and like I said, the Viteg Ollie, as I've said before, is incredibly rich and sweet and nothing like anything you've ever tasted in your life. It is insanely delicious. But before we see him bite, that's where the camera will fade. And on that, we will fade to black for the night, for the week, and we will return next week.
Okay. So with that, we're gonna wrap up. Reminder and announcements. Loading them up now. Obviously, name submissions are coming, so look out for that on the Patreon. And also, there's a monthly recap coming. We're very low on announcements today. So, wash your hands. There you go. Free announcement right there. Okay. Mathis, what are you doing when we find you till next week?
You can find me, Mathis Games, everywhere, as well as Chilluminati Podcast. Look it up. It's a fun podcast. And if you're in quarantine, you got like 50 episodes of like crazy shit to go through. So go listen. Go check it out.
Awesome. What about Miss Ava Heloisms, Magitech, Tracy?
Hi, everybody. You can find me everywhere at Miss Magitech. I stream and make videos and stuff and play RPGs. And yeah, you can come hang out. And yeah, that's me.
Okay, what about Oliver Hopkins, the Bubba?
I'm Bob, guys. That's about it. Just find me all over the place as the Bubbernaut. I do lots of stuff. Lots of tabletop, lots of video games, what have you, and just come find me.
They got a right little red dot, Chelsea. What about you?
Little Red Dot. You can find me online as Little Red Dot, rolling dice, telling stories, playing games. Come check it out.
Which leaves our resident organ eater. EE, what are you doing? Where can we find you?
I mean, well, I'm not eating organs. Like Bob said, you can find me all over the place because I am all over the place. YouTube.com/Trilicium, Twitch.tv/Trilicium. I have an RPG show on Tuesdays on the Twitch channel. I stream on Thursday on the channel, and on the YouTube I have Bannerlord, Hearts of Vine, Stellaris. Yeah. Cool. The thing, probably going to
Hell
start
yeah.
doing 2 videos a day because I want to get all the Bannerlord done so I can then play my modded Bannerlord series, which I'm not at all going to be recording tonight. Anyway, with that said, we're going to go do an after show, so I'm going to double check if we had any tips or bits today. I don't think we had any tips. There we go. Load you up. Don't go logging me out again, that's really helpful.
Gotta log you out all the time.
there were no tips today. Nope, there were no tips today. Cool. Okay, we're going to do after show. That'll be up on the Patreon in a couple of days, so look out for that. We also have Monster Hearts tomorrow, episode 3 of our short 4-episode series of Monster Hearts, so look out for that. But until next time, the dice roll over in your favor.
Goodbye, everybody.
I guess.
Bye.